made financial demands for him to continue playing, which the university interpreted as a violation of NCAA pay-for-play rules.
It's time. You know what time it is? The game for Tuscaloosa's longest-running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half,
we at Bama, we're trying to be the best. Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste a failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
And Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. Now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
And a big good afternoon to you. Welcome into the game. T-Town Tide at 100.9, 1230 WTBC. When you look at the University of Alabama, going to be hosting Georgia, we look at the ticket prices going up a little bit when you look at the number compared to some of their other SEC games. Is this the game of the year? Will it live up to this expectation? We're going to talk about that today. Aaron Torres is going to join us coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll have a chance to share some thoughts on this game. We'll get from his perspective. I saw a little bit of his tease on the Twitter account. So we'll talk about Alabama, Georgia from his perspective, and then we'll dive back into a score prediction contest presented by Southern Ale House. We will also dive into two different conversations today. We're going to go to ProFootballFocus.com in the 4 o'clock hour. But Josh from College Football Nerds, him and his colleague Daniel had a big breakdown of this game. Really spent some time looking ahead from his perspective, and we're going to do that coming up at 3 o'clock as we do each and every Wednesday. Josh is one of those guys that is, you know, when you ask people our favorite guests, there's a couple different guys that come to mind. So this first hour going to be quite busy. We'll talk with Aaron from about 2:15 all the way until about 2:30, and then from about 3 to 3:20ish, maybe a little bit longer there with Josh. Sometimes we go a little bit longer with him. So we'll dive into a lot of different things with him. And then coming up later in the show in the 4 o'clock hour, we'll talk to Dalton Wasserman. Dalton is from ProFootballFocus.com, so probably not a lengthy conversation, but we'll dive into his perspective when you look at this Alabama-Georgia. I was telling a colleague of mine just a couple of minutes ago, I've been here since 2000. I have never seen hotel prices go for this type, okay? I mean, you can get a teepee. You could, Chase, I think this is a way that we can make some money, man. I mean, I think we could go down to Walmart.
Okay.
We could go down and we buy 3 or 4 of these portable tents, right? And we could set them up in our yard and you could have this space, okay? You have this space. I think we could get a few $100. We could rent out the radio station parking lot.
Okay.
We might even rent out the studio. We could put a sleeping bag here and there, and this town is crazy. Go to Priceline, and I've been doing this all week. Go to Priceline and type in Tuscaloosa for Friday and Saturday night. It will throw you for a curveball when you look at the price and the amount. We're talking about Bedbug Inn charging $490 an evening. Okay, the bed bugs come with it. It's a place that you would have to beat the roaches off the bed to. Come on. We've all been there. Go look at a Motel 6. Motel 6. Okay, for all of us local, we're not trying to take shots, but and they label the Motel 6 as university. That thing is. Did you see it? Motel 6 University. That thing ain't close to the university. Don't buy that. Don't buy that. But I was looking at the price of, and that's what's thrown this. I hope this game lives up to the expectations from a demand, from a ticket value. It looks like the weather is going to be nice. This is going to be a fabulous weekend. I don't know what else that this could be from a amping more. Like, you've got a number 2 against a number 4. You have to go back and understand Kalen DeBoer was hired for these big moments, right? When you come to the University of Alabama, and he said this a couple different times. He said it on the teleconference earlier today, but also going back to Monday. He said it when you look back at why you come to a place like Alabama. Why do you come to Alabama? Well, for one, He thought that it was a better route to winning a national title, even though they played and won last year and had a chance to beat Michigan, something we couldn't do and neither could they. But if you look at Kalen DeBoer, the reason why he's here, he believes that he can get to the top. He believes that he can get a chance to dive into it. And we're going to talk about that coming up in just a couple of minutes. We got a lot of audio. We're also going to dive into the offensive direction because the way that I break this game down, I was on in Houston, Texas last evening when I got off the air, went on out there with Chris Gordy, and we talked about, from Alabama perspective. Then I was on in this morning with Jackson, Mississippi. I've got several interviews throughout the week. I don't know if it's going to be it's pretty, heavy week as far as interviews, but at this point, we've had 2 weeks to kind of break it down, right? We've had 2 weeks with the bye week with both teams off of on a bye week. But the way that I answer the question, when I begin to kind of handicap this game, even though I'm not a professional handicapper, Brad Powers tomorrow, Lee Sterling, Bruce Marshall, those are professional handicappers that we love to feature. But one of the things that I look at is I look at Alabama. Now, in my eyes, Alabama's a better football team this year, right? You got to, start at the quarterback position. I think Jalen Milroe would tell you that it's probably daylight and dark from his growth, the way that he has developed into this position, right? First-year starter, there's probably things that he's comfortable with, things that he's not comfortable with. But coming into this Kalen DeBoer system, for one, he's got a better offensive coordinator. Let's start there. Whether you want to go Nick Sheridan, Kalen DeBoer, if you want to go co-offensive coordinator with Jamarcus Shepard, he has a better offensive team around him, including the head coach is an offensive-minded coach. So you take that. I think Alabama's a better team, and I'm not sure that Georgia is a better team. And Alabama beat them last year on a neutral field. And then when you begin to study the bye weeks, I thought Mike Griffith said something yesterday that really grabbed me. He said, coming off of bye weeks, Kalen DeBoer is pretty impressive. So he's had 2 weeks. He's very creative. But what's going to give? It's not just the tape of Alabama, Georgia. We've heard it all of our life. Defense wins championships. Defense wins championships. I don't think that's no longer true. I think it's offense now that wins championships. And I think it was smart for Greg Byrne to go after an offensive-minded coach. I think because, to me, that's the part that I want to see. You got an old-fashioned defensive mentality who has built his team on that side of the ball. Yeah, he's got offensive players. You can't be so, one-sided that you can't be able to play. But I want to see what gives. Is it offense, defense? Can Kalen DeBoer, because something tells me this is not going to be the only big game that Georgia, because if Kirby stays there and Kalen DeBoer is able to do what we think he's going to be able to do, then I think we back up a couple of minutes and we're probably going to be talking about, just like we were talking about with Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, versus because those guys had a relationship. I think now you're going to tie this back to, in the future, you're going to have Kalen DeBoer versus Kirby Smart. And as much as I hate to say this, if there's any way that we can filter this guy out, there's a guy that goes by Digger that lives down in Louisiana. He's a big Texas guy. And we asked him why he went by Digger, and he said that his parents were in the oil business. And so he's Digger, right? Digging for oil. So he goes by Digger down in Louisiana. And so Digger, go to the bathroom. Go get you a glass of water, because what I'm going to say is I'm going to brag on Texas, and I don't want him to hear it. It will be Sark against Kirby. It will be Kalen against Kirby. And this is not just going to be a one-time thing. It's going to be, the maybe twice. Who knows? There may be a trilogy for this upcoming season. So we'll share some thoughts about that. We'll talk to Aaron Torres, Josh from College Football Nerds, and then we'll talk about ProFootballFocus.com. We'll sandwich in a lot of different things when we talk about the upcoming game. And, hey, Kalen DeBoer had some great things to say about offensively, how much they've been able to add to Jalen Milroe. But I think Alabama's a better football team this year compared to when they played. And I asked that question on Monday a little bit. Are you more confident now going up against Georgia than you were last year at SEC title game? Georgia had won 2 in a row. They were headed for number 3. So when you look at Georgia, Alabama put a hurdle in front of them. They put a roadblock and said, no, you're not going to do something that's never been done in college football. and Alabama was able to put that block in front of them. So we'll talk about it from Josh, and I'm telling you, I listened to part of his preview with him and Daniel on the YouTube channel side of College Football Nerds. They've already got their models. Their models like Alabama. So does the Football Power Index model at ESPN. They also like Alabama. But you know who likes Georgia? The handicappers. The handicappers have still got this line, and it's actually increased from a Georgia perspective. So we'll dive into that. We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyline Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. How about a 4Runner? How about a Camry? How about a Corolla, Highlander, RAV4? You got some great interest specials as low as 3.99 on the 2025 Camry, as low as 1.99 on the Tundra, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, and also a $2,000 loyalty cash on the Tacoma, a $1,500 loyalty cash. It is Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. We'll dive into it coming up
this weekend. Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Cloudy with occasional rain this afternoon and tonight. Maybe a thunderstorm in spots as well. The high today 78, the low tonight 65. For tomorrow, cloudy, rain likely much of the day. The high in the mid-70s and 74 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
The longest running sports show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
It's Alabama. It's Georgia. We're going to break it down with Fox Sports national analyst Aaron Torres podcast, one of the top sports podcasts in the entire country. You can find it right there. We're also the Fox Sports affiliate here in Tuscaloosa. We've got a big show lined up for you, and we're going to break it down right now with our good friend. This guy could run for the Grand Marshal of the Christmas Parade here in Tuscaloosa. Who knows? I mean, he could be the celebrity picker. I doubt ESPN would choose someone from Fox Sports, but they could. I know, but see, Torres doesn't fit the criteria. Generally, ESPN likes to choose someone that is, like a hater of the Crimson Tide. Torres is definitely not that. Aaron Torres, how are you, my friend? Welcome to a busy Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
It sure seems like it. I mean, even I know this isn't true, but it felt like even the intro music had a little pep in the step, man. I'm so excited. My only sadness is that I can't be there with you and 90,000 plus of your closest friends this weekend. But you're the center of the sports universe. You're the center of the sports universe all week. I hope you're living it up, because this should be an awesome game.
It's days like today, and I tell people this all the time. We're in this business because we love sports, because we wouldn't do it if we didn't love sports. This is the moments that when you look back and you go, I am blessed to be able to do what I'm able to do. I'm thankful that I'm able to cover, college football, and you get a chance to be a part of this type of magnitude. I mean, you almost have to pinch yourself a little bit to go, man, what an event. What an event. I mean, because the juices kind of get to flowing, man. I mean, the energy. I mean, listen, I couldn't tackle anybody, but you never know. I might. I mean, I'm tackle one of my media colleagues in the press box. I doubt they would like that. Wow. But, It just kind
of. Mike Griffith from AJC. Wow, just you're coming after him, huh? You're just meeting him in the A gap. Okay, good to know.
Yeah. I mean, and Mike was a part of our show yesterday. Torres.
I know.
He was actually very complimentary of Kalen DeBoer.
Oh, the old reverse psychology, huh?
Now, Mike can do that, but I wouldn't let him because I tried to put the pressure on Georgia. And I'll ask the same question to you. I feel like that the pressure is on the Dogs. They are a team that's won, 2 out of the last 3 when you look at national titles. Everybody keeps calling Kirby Smart the best coach in college football since Nick Saban retired. You take that question. Is the pressure on Georgia?
So I always feel like when you set me up with questions like this and I answer them the way that you want me to, then, Torres is a homer and he wouldn't say this if he wasn't on Tuscaloosa radio. I actually agree with you 100% because, listen, even after Saban got the best of Kirby again last year, once he retired, it was dynasty's dead. It's our time now, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And so, I know that I haven't looked at the lines since this morning. I know Alabama had become a slight favorite, but I do think the pressure's on Georgia because this was an Alabama team that was, most believed to be in that quote unquote new playoff conversation, but probably not an SEC title contender. Those aren't my words. Those are the words of others heading into the season. And so I don't think the perception has changed. Is that I do think Alabama has looked a little bit better than we expected. I still think Georgia's probably looked not quite as good as we expected, but they were the preseason #1 team. I believe they were the preseason SEC favorites. They're still ranked higher than Alabama coming into this game. But I think most importantly, it's a perception standpoint. If you really are that team, because Nick Saban, right, especially in those early years, once he got it going, ironically with the win at Georgia, how many times did you walk into somebody else's stadium and they thought it was their time to prove, where they stood next to Alabama, and then boom, all of a sudden they realize that they're not even in the same stratosphere as Alabama. So Kirby Smart, Georgia, if you are the program that you claim to be, this is a game that you should win. I'm sorry, it sounds crazy, but this is a game that you should win if you really are the new kings of the SEC.
And when you look at this game from your perspective, I know we could always do the coach talk, but how will this game be decided? When you're looking at it, trying to break down this game and this matchup, give me Torres' thoughts.
Torres' thoughts are pretty straightforward. I think it's going to be decided in 2 places. One, we saw what Alabama's offensive line looked like when they were healthy. Georgia struggled to stop the run against Kentucky 2 weeks ago. Was Georgia bored? Were they looking ahead to this game? They were obviously heading into a bye. Or do they have questions along the defensive line? Because I think it's worth noting, Kirby Smart did talk about in the preseason, hey, we don't have the depth we used to. The portal and NIL is changing everything. Well, was it just a one-off deal, or are they just not as strong up front as they have been? And then inversely, I think from the Georgia perspective, hey, everyone keeps telling me Carson Beck's the #1 pick in the draft. Okay, go prove it. Everybody's telling me from Nick Saban on down that the weakness of this team is the secondary. And in defense of the people who have said that, I don't think there's a way to know that yet because they faced a running quarterback with South Florida and then, of course, a backup against Wisconsin on the road. So to me, we could talk Jalen Milroe, we could talk whatever. Can Alabama move people up front on offense? And can the defensive backs do what they need to do against the guy that everybody's telling me is a top 5 pick in the next NFL draft?
All right, on your national show that you recap college football on Fox Sports, we probably will not have a lot of that show because we'll be in a post-game coverage.
So sad.
But Torres is on Fox Sports. He recaps this Saturday with him and Jason Martin, and he's a guy that loves college football as much as we do. Let's say that Georgia comes to Tuscaloosa and they get beat. What will that I know the game will be topics, but will from a perspective of they just can't get over this Alabama hump. They're going to have to deal with it. They're going to have to manage it. What will be the topics if they come to Tuscaloosa and get that butt whipped?
Yeah, it's tough because, you try not to be overreactionary in this 12-team playoff era. But listen, if Georgia loses this game, and of course it's always the manner in which you lose.
Sure.
But if they lose this game, they're now a quarter of the way through the season, and I would argue they've played one half of really good football. I don't care what he did against Tennessee Tech. That's not even a real team as far as I'm concerned. You got outplayed by Kentucky. That's the bottom line. You can twist it, shake it any way you want. It's the truth. You got outplayed by Kentucky. Now, was it, again, that you were bored, that you were flat, that they had just lost to South Carolina? I don't care. You got outplayed. It was pretty much even against Clemson in the first half. You lose this game. We're now a quarter of the way through the season, and it's hard for me to put you in a class that now includes Texas, Tennessee, and it would include Alabama with this win. So that's what's at stake for Georgia. Is I understand we're in a 12-team playoff era, and if you could just make that bracket, Georgia's going to have as good of a chance as anybody. But perception does matter. And then let's also remember, if you lose this game, you still got to go to Texas, you still got to go to Ole Miss. Let's say you're not making the SEC championship game. Now you might have to go on the road in week 1 of the playoff. You're going to have to win 4 games to win a championship. It's like anything else. It just makes the path so much tougher for Georgia if you lose this game.
Torres, I want to take Alabama and Georgia out of it for just a couple of minutes. I want to tie it back from an offense versus defense because I'm from the old school. Listen, when you go back to 1961, Alabama gave up 25 points. It really started.
Wow, you're older than I thought you were. Goodness gracious, 1961.
I remember those leather helmets and no fat. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
But, 61, we gave up 25 points. 64 was a great defense. By the way, it'll be the 60th anniversary. Joe Willie Namath will be the honorary captain for this game. 60th anniversary of the 1964 national champion. Alabama has got a history of playing great defense. So this is coming from a perspective that loves to go defense. I don't think defense no longer wins championships. I think it's the offense.
Well, I think offense is really important, obviously, but there's a couple things. First of all, I was thinking about this. I was looking at some of the stats of just teams that are successful. Right now in the SEC, the teams that are successful, they're running the football really well. I mean, Alabama, obviously, it goes without saying, Jam Miller and, the two-headed monster at running back right now are both averaging over 7 yards per carry. Now, again, it's early, competition, whatever, but you're running the ball really well. Arkansas is 3-1, probably should be 4-0. They have 2 of the top 10 rushers in the SEC. Tennessee, by the way, we think of Heupel as this toss the ball all over the yard kind of guy. Guess what ends up happening? They won that game with defense and run game last week. So I think it's important, and I do think you got to be good on that side of the ball. Listen, I think the prophecy or the whatever you would call it that Nick Saban, the conclusion that he came to about 8-10 years ago at this point of winning games 16-14 are probably over. In a 15, 16, now 17-game college football playoff season, it might only be once or twice a year. But there's going to be a time where you have to score 35 points to win, and that's why guys like Les Miles aren't coaching anymore. But I do think there's something to be said for defense. Like I said, I think Tennessee, the reason that Tennessee, in my opinion, is a legitimate national championship contender rather than just a fun sideshow like they've been in previous years is because of that defense. Lincoln Riley and USC beat LSU because of that defense. So the offense is very important. I'm not going to sit here and say, offense puts butts in the seats, defense wins championships, because I think it's a little bit more complicated in this era. But I do think you have to be very good on defense to win at the highest level at any level of football.
But I think if we look ahead, it's going to be this is not just a one-hit wonder with Kalen DeBoer going up against Kirby Smart. If Kirby continues to stay at Georgia, there's no reason to believe that he's not going to. Kalen DeBoer stays in Tuscaloosa. Something tells me this is not going to be a matchup for just 2024. When we look ahead, it's going to be Kalen DeBoer versus Kirby Smart. Offense against defense. And you could even take Sark from Texas.
I was going to ask.
Yeah. Listen, you look at Texas offensively. Now it's all about, let's pick on Kirby with that defense like they were picking on Coach Saban. And, the up-tempo offense is how they found, little weaknesses. And something tells me that, Kalen DeBoer's probably went back and studied all these concepts that work against this defense. Mobile quarterbacks, embrace it, man. Don't run from it. Embrace it because that's a weakness.
And here's the other thing with Georgia is they didn't go from really good to national championship. Remember that game against Ohio State in the playoff a few years ago? What was it? 37-34 was the final score, or 38-37, something like that. So, even Georgia, as good as that defense has been, I think they realized we got to win a different kind of way. So, no, I'm with you. And I will say, man, listen, I know there's a lot of problems in college football right now, highlighted by something that happened this morning. But I bring it up to say the on-the-field product, the people that are tasked with running the Texas program, the Alabama program, the Georgia program, the Ole Miss program, there's still some really good coaches in this sport. And I do think it makes it exciting when you look out to the future of the SEC, because so many of these programs are in such good shape. And I think beyond that, not only are the programs in good shape, but now we live in this 12-team playoff era where you don't have to be perfect or win the SEC championship to still have a shot at a national championship.
Aaron Torres now visiting with us. Torres, the time has arrived. We've been talking about this game, this moment when Nick Saban retired. Even prior to his retirement, we were circling Georgia coming to Tuscaloosa. They've got their revenge on their mind because Alabama put that roadblock in them and said, no, you're not going to go win 3 in a row because we're going to stop you. That's reserved for Alabama. Alabama's tried it a bunch of different times. They've never been able to accomplish it. When you look at 64, 65, should have been 66. They went undefeated. The polls didn't think Alabama was the number one team. Should have won then. 78, 79, should have won the next one. Even prior to that, they could have possibly did it. 2011, 2012, 2013, that darn kick six got in the way. Alabama put a roadblock and said, Georgia, no. You're not going to win 3 in a row because we're going to stop you. They did. I thought that was the best win of the victory last year, was just stopping them from doing 3 in a row. When it's all said and done, Saturday evening at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, who's the winner?
I'm not saying it because I'm on Tuscaloosa. I like Alabama to win this. And I think, first of all, we always mistake this, but when two teams are pretty evenly matched, and I think most would agree, whether you're a Georgia fan or a Bama fan, I think that, this isn't a stylistic, one team has huge advantages over the other, like, say, Tennessee did last week against Oklahoma, who just hasn't figured out a quarterback. When the teams are pretty balanced, I do think home field matters. I also think, from my perspective, I also just like the matchups for Alabama. And it was a lot of the stuff that you asked me about earlier in the segment. But my opinion in the last 6 minutes hasn't changed, is that O-line, when they were fully healthy. By the way, I've listened to every word that DeBoer and all of the assistants have said this week. There is no indication that offensive line isn't going to be ready to go, right? Because I know, Proctor came back for Wisconsin, but, you just never know. I mean, there's no indication that O-line...
The bye week was a perfect week because they were dealing with a couple of things. You had Jaden Roberts that got back in fall practice who needed a little bit of more time to heal. He had that club on his hand, so I'm sure that'll probably, another week to kind of get. But also, you had some other injuries that you were dealing with on that offensive line. And in a week, the bye week was early, but it came at a perfect time.
Well, it's funny you say that. I mentioned that on my show yesterday. First day I was really diving deep into that game is, I've been critical of some of the decisions by the SEC the last, year or so. I think there's a few things they've done that are very un-SEC-like in terms of whatever. But making sure that both these teams are coming, not even just one of them, both of them are coming off a bye. Both of them are at 100%. SEC opener in this new era for both, I think it's incredible. And so to go back, yes, I had not read, seen, or heard any indication to believe that the O-line wasn't going to be ready to go for this game. I think that is an advantage for Alabama. Remember, Kentucky had posted 200 yards rushing against this Georgia front. And then conversely, I look at when Georgia has the football, maybe Carson Beck can move the ball. But first of all, it's worth noting they struggled to run the football as well against Kentucky. So that's part of it. But I just look at the home crowd, the noise, the fact that Carson Beck hasn't looked the way we expected, and the run game hasn't been there to bail him out. I truly mean it, Ryan. I'm not just saying it because I'm on your show. I'll say 27-24 Bama. I think it's close. I think it's competitive, but I am taking Alabama to win this game.
Okay, 27-24. 27-24.
I feel like that's got to be everybody. And that's just such a wheelhouse, easy pick for no matter what side you're on. But anyway, keep going, Ryan.
Okay, 27-24. All right, Torres, I'm going to slip this in, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
How much did little brother get topics on the national show this past Saturday? Did you give him any love? Did you give
that was really blowing up while we were on air. Okay. And so we really probably didn't address it the way that it needed to be addressed. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I also, let me ask you, Ryan, I don't know how much time we have. I'm going to do the whole, I don't know how much time we have, and you're going to say I'll blow through some stop signs. Everyone's going to be mad at me, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Maybe you're the wrong audience to ask this, Ryan.
On time management, baby. I'm like,
okay.
Yeah, I'm like Les Miles on time management. Just ask my producers if you don't believe me.
All right, so I know you're not the right person to ask, but what is the line of demarcation when your players keep screwing up? Like I know the old saying is you never criticize your players publicly. It's like, well, at what point is that just not true? I mean, we can say, oh, Hugh Freeze handled it all wrong, but it's like his quarterback threw 4 interceptions last week, 2 weeks after throwing 4 against Cal. And it's like, I was thinking about this because, I'm starting to look ahead to the, Auburn-Oklahoma game and some of the other games outside of Georgia-Alabama. And it's like if Auburn was just turning the ball over 2 times a game instead of 5, they'd be 4-0 right now. And so, I know what the edict is. You never criticize your players publicly. But at the same time, it's like they are getting paid. I would guess Peyton Thorne is probably, outside of Hugh Freeze and maybe one or two of the coordinators, the highest paid dude in that building. It's like, at what point are we just allowed to just be honest? Like, and that was kind of my take is like, do I think Freeze probably shouldn't have said it? Okay, maybe. But at what point is it just true? Hey, it'd be nice if my quarterback didn't throw the ball to the other team. So that's my stance. I know you probably disagree, but that's kind of my stance on it. So.
Well, I think that, that gets caught up in the loss. The way that, to me, Sam Pittman, another coach that's kind of on the hot seat, goes to Auburn and beats them. To me, the conversation is, we were promised that this offense was going to be, so much better. And we live in the States, so you may not hear the noise that we hear. But how much better this Auburn offense. Peyton Thorne, a Heisman hopeful. I mean, it's going to be off the charts. And at the end,
can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Where did that noise come from? Did it come from message boards or did it come from the coaching staff?
No, it came from the fans. But
real quick, listen, fan is short for fanatic, and I did tell you this a few weeks ago, Ryan, because you said what was my take after the Cal loss, and I did say, listen, Coach Freeze, he's a guy that I have gotten along with through the years, but I'm not afraid to criticize people. And listen, everybody says, Torres, you stick up for certain people. It's like, no, I've criticized everybody from Nick Saban and Nate Oates on this show when I've had to, okay? But at the same time, I did say on your show 2 weeks ago, I said, Hugh Freeze is the kind of guy that really, when things are going well, that man loves a microphone, okay? And so I bring it up because I thought it was a very quiet offseason out of there, and the only time I really heard him talking about Auburn football was to talk about how great his 2024 class was and how excited he was for the 2025 class. And that told me everything that he needed to know, and I think I used this exact example on your show of it felt like when you play NCAA 25, there's certain people that they don't even play the seasons. They just really enjoy the recruiting. They bring in the class, and then they auto play the season. And it was like, it felt like Hugh Freeze just wanted to go from signing day 2024 to signing day 2025 without playing any games in between. So I don't know who said what, but I know that on the national scale, it was actually a bizarrely quiet offseason out of Auburn, where it felt like the coaching staff was pretty much avoiding at all costs actually talking about the team on the field.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but I mean, it's, but I thought Hugh was going to do something better from.
Well, that's fair.
And I thought 2 years in this college football portal era that we live in, if you don't believe you have a quarterback, go get you one. You're Auburn. I mean, come on. I mean, you're not, Alabama State, La Tech, ULM. Go get you a quarterback. You don't believe you've got one? Don't worry about hurting feelings. Go get you one. Go get you one.
Well, I agree with that. I also would say I think there's a notion that's just not true that there is this infinite supply of great quarterbacks in the portal. I mean, Cam Ward at Miami has been awesome, okay? But let's look at some of the other quarterbacks that came out of the portal this offseason. DJU. I mean, imagine going to your boosters asking for more money this offseason after you ask them for money. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. So DJU, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head. He's probably, unfortunately, kind of the metaphor. By the way, the Taylor Green kid at Arkansas is 3-1. Taylor Green at Arkansas is completing like 52% of his passes. So it's like this idea that there's this infinite supply of just awesome quarterbacks that are just sitting there for the taking is not true either. And so this sounds like I've become this sounds like an Auburn football infomercial, so I don't want to make it that. I'll also say I did not love, the comment after the game in which he said something to the effect of, if we played Arkansas 9 more times, we beat them 9 times. It's like, dude, just take the L and move on. But I also think some of it is, I think transparently, I think some of it's a little unfair. But I know I'm in Tuscaloosa, and I know I sound like an Auburn homer, and so I'll shut up.
I mean, you picked the Tide, and we were gonna.
I did. It's true.
And now you're praising Auburn. I mean, it's.
I'm not praising. I'm just not destroying. But I think, and I hate to say this, I think that's our whole national discourse, at least in sports. It's just devolved into something. It's like a lowest common denominator thing, right? So I'll just give you a quick non-college football example. Joe Burrow completes like 70% of his passes, throws for 300-something yards on Monday Night Football, and I wake up to all these headlines of Joe Burrow's overrated. It's like, well, maybe the defense stinks. Maybe there's other reasons they lost the game, and I'm not excusing what Hugh Freeze said and, frankly, what Hugh Freeze did, but 3 things stand out. One, I think in the NIL portal era, I'm sorry, I don't feel bad about criticizing players publicly. What he said was not wrong. Stop turning the freaking ball over. Hey, Ryan, have you ever seen the movie Liar, Liar with Jim Carrey? Have you ever seen Liar, Liar with Jim Carrey?
No. I'm not your movie guy, man. I can't.
Okay, I'm not either.
Yeah.
But let me give you a line out of that movie, and I'll be careful how I phrase it. But so the concept of the movie Liar, Liar is he's a lawyer, and by trade his whole job is to basically lie and fabricate the truth. And so for 24 hours for his kid's birthday, he wishes, I wish my dad couldn't tell a lie. Well, of course, because it's a movie, it becomes true. His dad can't tell a lie. So in the middle of his day when he can't tell a lie, one of his clients, remember, he's a lawyer, calls, and he just robbed an ATM. Okay, not a funny situation, but it's kind of a funny situation. It's a movie. And so his secretary says, John Smith needs to talk to you. He's in trouble again. He needs some advice. And so Jim Carrey picks up the phone and he says, you need some advice? Stop breaking the law, a-hole. And then he hangs up the phone. And I bring it up because that's kind of what Hugh Freeze did. It's like, at a certain point, it's like, we can feel so bad for these. Oh my God, they're college kids and you can't criticize. How about you just stop throwing the ball to the other team? So that's my Jim Carrey to Hugh Freeze monologue. But I don't think what he said is wrong. And whatever. That's it. Well, I'm not defending everything.
Hugh is turned into a little bit of a liar, so that's perfect theme. Perfect theme. Because today on the SEC teleconference, he actually said that he did not see Bo Wallace's comments. He's not on social networks. And then he followed it up and it actually explained that he called him and reached out to him. So he didn't see it, but he still had the need to call. I mean, so Hugh looks like, anyway, I got to get off Auburn because I've already got all the criticism because,
Dude, I mean, it's the biggest game in Tuscaloosa since when? And all you want to do is talk about Little Sisters of the Poor over there.
I know it. All right. RTR, roll, Torres, roll.
Torres, yeah. Roll, Torres, roll, yeah. Well, roll Tide, roll, too. It's going to be a big weekend, man. For all of you that are there, I'm so excited for all of you. I will get to a game soon. I am jealous. I am sad. By the way, you're not going to the Vandy game in Nashville, are you?
If I can get the private jet to work, I'm looking into it. But that same jet that couldn't get me to the Final Four, that's the one I'm depending on. We changed the spark plug and the air filter, and if we can get this thing cranked, we're going to look like Major League. Speaking of movie references, that type of plane. I mean, this thing is it's not.
I know I should. Yeah. I know I shouldn't say this, but I happened to be going to Nashville for a friend's birthday party that weekend, and it was just made aware to me that Alabama is playing Vandy, and I don't need all these Crimson Tide fans.
I gotta go. I mean,
I thought you might be there.
No, I mean, Torres, no. I've been trying to get you to Tuscaloosa for years, and you're going to Nashville.
I'd say beer's on me to all the Tide fans that are coming, but I know there's going to be a lot there. And I know how big your reach is, so I can't be buying beers for the whole state of Alabama.
Okay. All right. Alabama's going to smoke them. You and I've got a little something special maybe on Sunday. We'll leave it at that.
And by the way, listen, if my friend wanted to go to Tuscaloosa for her 40th birthday party, then we would have gone to Tuscaloosa. It wasn't my choice, okay?
Yeah, Nashville is it's an okay town, but it's starting to be overrated. It's not as fun as people think it is, okay? I mean, it's a good town, but it's turning into a place that doesn't represent the South. And I'll leave it at that. All right, Torres, I got to run, man.
Ooh.
Yeah.
RTR, roll Torres, roll. We'll talk next week. Good luck. Roll Tide. Enjoy.
RTR, a roll Torres, roll. Aaron Torres right here on Fox Sports Radio that you hear right here on Tide 100.9. I got some dumb recommendations for the guest picker. I'm going to read through some of those. I mean, okay, I'd love for Alabama to be represented, but not this particular person. I'll say who that is next. T-Town, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
On the next Inside the Locker Room with Coach Wimp Sanderson and Barry Sanderson.
Tune in Tuesday, 7:30. We'll have J.C. Sherbert. We'll go around the ACC with J.C., brought to you by Yellowwood. In the second hour, Dad will pick his Blue Plate special, coming off a victory in the Tennessee game. Hopefully he will get hot. Plus, we'll take your phone.
Get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile.
Forever!
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Call Paul at 205-331-6823. Custom curbing for your home or business. Do away with those plastic individual stone borders. Go for that more permanent, decorative concrete border. No more grass growing between those individual stones. Cleaner to etch to maintain. They're willing to travel, not just here in Tuscaloosa, but also in our neighboring states as well over in Mississippi. Many colors and choices. They'll customize for that individual taste and house. Give them a call at 205-331-6823. You can also go to their Facebook account. Find their page. You can see exactly what the videos. They came out, did a free quote. Paul gave me an evaluation. Give them a call, 205-331-6823.
Craft, dirt baits, bass and habits, and Castaway Fish Co. shirts and hats. Castaway Fish Co. located next to the new Dunkin' Donuts on McFarland Boulevard in Northport.
The Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas, 205-752-0627. PharmacyMidtown.com. Don't forget about the retail side of the Pharmacy at Midtown. It's an independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine on time packaging, which increase
at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Your home for Alabama Crimson Tide football. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
ESPN College Game Day going to be coming to Tuscaloosa. Nick Saban already here, so Nick Saban's, maybe they'll invite, all the media over for, a media party since Nick Saban's a part of that. But I'm watching names, and I see a lot of Miss Terry. I like that. Put Miss Terry up there. She is the first lady of Alabama Crimson Tide football. Like Rich over in Atlanta says, Johnny from Coleman. That's one of our famous callers that not able to call as much as maybe he has been in the past, but, President Trump, ESPN, they're too woke. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Okay, President Trump, no.
What if they did?
They're not going to. They're not going to. You got a Tennessee Volunteer fan that says put Philip Fulmer on the stand. I mean, that would probably be one of those. You got a J.D. Vance. No, come on. Come on. I mean, Julio Jones has probably been my popular one. Nate Oates would also be another good one. Nate Oates, Final Four, also has a connection with Reese Davis. So, I like that. A lot of these names, but Julio Jones is one that I would like to see. Lucas Black, that name always comes up. I think the ladies love him or whatever. He's an Alabama guy, so I don't even know what show he's on, but is it In the Heat of the Night or something? What
I think something like that.
Yeah,
I'm not too big.
Yeah.
What about a Jermaine Burton? He could be a good picker. He played at Georgia and Bama.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Here's one that says Caitlin Collins, and I'm sitting there going, no, come on. I mean, you don't want somebody that pretends to be a journalist. She's not a journalist. She's an activist, right? I mean, she's no more. And you could go right or left. I mean, when you watch the news now, it's either slanted to the right or slanted to the left. And they hide behind this media card. I think you were reminding me about the evening show, the late night show that she went on, catering to pretty much a predominantly left slanted show. And she gets up and tries to explain that she's more of an unbiased and the crowd goes crazy laughing at her because, but I don't know if I'd want her to go, hey, we're training our future journalist. We're training our future journalist. No, come on. I mean, is that really like I said, she's an activist. She's not a journalist. But you could say the same thing about many other folks. But no, come on. Let's keep Caitlin to let her. But I wouldn't be shocked if ESPN countered the Donald Trump appearance. Because, I mean, they're kind of woke like that. I mean, they love the, global warming extremists.
But I would imagine that the game day hosts themselves probably have a pretty big say in who that picker is. And I don't know. Yeah, I would think she would be.
She'd be
prime.
She'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Miss Terry would be incredible.
The crowd would love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think that'd be awesome. All right, let's continue with more of the game. And the future repairs. No overtime charges on weekends and holidays. No hassle guarantee. Adams Heating and Cooling. 205-872-0045. DanielMooreArt.com. Daniel Moore Art celebrates those special moments of Alabama football history like 4th and 31, Jalen Milroe connected with Isaiah Bond, or the legacy continues with all the great memories of Alabama Crimson Tide football. You can celebrate Coach Saban with a Nick Saban print, the limited edition canvas. You could also find many of the great mini prints. Celebrate that special Alabama fan in your life.
So you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
The Game with Ryan Fowler. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. On your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9. And streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
A little R&R Cigars. Relax and recharge. R&R Cigars, 2703 6th Street, 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa. That cigar mansion, 1,000 different cigars to choose from. The walk-in humidor, you'll find it R&R Cigars. We got Josh from College Football Nerds. Had a big breakdown with him and his colleague Daniel on College Football Nerds, CFB Nerds on the Twitter account, the YouTube account. Great breakdown. I think you're going to like some of their models, their projections. We'll get into it coming up in a couple of minutes with Josh, as we do each and every Wednesday. But right now we got a Marty in Arkansas. Marty, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
All is well, Ryan. It's going to be from the doghouse from the dog pen to the doghouse for those Bulldogs.
Okay. All right. You got a score for me?
Hey, let me ask you something, Ryan.
All right, let it go.
Are we a better team than last year?
Yes, we are.
All right, is Georgia a better team than last year?
I don't think they are. Now, that's one of the questions I want to get into with Josh.
I think we are. And I think Georgia's a worse team. They don't have a block Bauer. They don't have a running back. They lost some offensive lines. And I put it like this. When Curry lost to Miami that year, and then Gene Stallings went down there and beat them real bad, we were a better team on the defensive front. This defense, Kentucky, you know what? We're going to beat them down just like Kentucky. We'll put them at 3rd and long. Everyone think, they come in there with their head. No, that's the way Georgia's going to be all year long. When they play someone that's physical up front, put 7 or 5 men in the box, they're not going to be able to handle it. Georgia's going to come in. Georgia ain't coming. Georgia's coming in and going home as a puppy.
All right, give me a score.
Here's my score.
All right.
38-14.
38-14, man. You guys are, I better go to Vegas with all these. We've had some large projections here. 38-14, Jalen Milroe, total passing yards. Where do you want to go?
205.
I got it, Marty. Roll Tide to you, man.
Well, hey, I got +4, so I'm sitting in the bird cat seat right now.
You got what now?
I got my ticket in +4. I got Alabama +4.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. If you cashed in that, Alabama +4 seems to be you need a win, but hey, even a loss.
They'll win. They'll win. They'll win.
All right.
And like I said, the only 3 games after we win this one is if we get to the next 3 undefeated, we're undefeated the rest of the year.
I got you. Marty, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Ron. Thanks, Ron.
Yep, thank you. Let's continue with more. Josh, college football nerds, then Pee Wee and Grand Bay. Coming up in a couple of minutes, T-Town Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret? With Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/try to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/try.
Or you can shop online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. At Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, you pick it out and we'll work it out. Roll Tide.
Dos Amigos, Highway 69 in the new Publix Shopping Center. 11 a.m. opening, 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday closing at 9, Sunday through Thursday. Some great Mexican cuisine, the great fajitas, the great desserts, the great lunch specials. You'll find it at Dos Amigos in the Publix Shopping Center on Highway 69. Takeout orders always.
So great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to now.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Cloudy with occasional rain this afternoon and tonight. Maybe a thunderstorm in spots as well. The high today 78, the low tonight 65. For tomorrow, cloudy, rain likely much of the day. The high in the mid-70s at 74 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Beyer.
Bunch of injury news to get to in the National Football League, and we start in Green Bay, where Packers quarterback Jordan Love was on the practice field today, taking in a limited practice. The NFL Network reported that Love is expected to return from his knee injury and start against the Vikings in Week 4 after missing the last 2 games. Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh says that quarterback Justin Herbert could be limited in practice today with his high ankle sprain. Harbaugh said that Herbert's ankle was progressing after an MRI was taken on Monday. Texans didn't have running back Joe Mixon or wide receiver Tank Dell on the practice field today because of injuries. Eagles were without wide receivers A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Smith suffered a concussion in their win over the Saints, while Brown has missed time over the last 2 games because of a hamstring injury. Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce confirmed that Gardner Minshew will start Week 4 against the Cleveland Browns. Commanders running back Austin Eckler has been ruled out against Arizona because of a concussion.
Any way you want it, that's the way
always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. Tundra, Tacoma, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. How about a 4Runner, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive? You can find a Camry, Corolla. You can also find Highlanders, RAV4s, pre-owned inventory. It is David DeSantis and Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Right now, we're going to go to collegefootballnerds.com, collegefootballnerds.com. Josh, we welcome you into the game, man. This is the game that you and I and many others have been talking about leading into this game. Welcome back to T-Town.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
All right, Josh. I never like to box you in on this first question, but you guys have had a comprehensive breakdown and on your YouTube account. It's detailed with you and your colleague Daniel. Let's go into it for those who didn't watch it. I'm going to put it out following the show and kind of link it out because I think it's just it's a deep dive into these numbers. But when you look at this Alabama Georgia, what jumps out to you from an analytical standpoint when you begin to break this game down?
I think the most interesting thing is that you have two teams that both have put on good performances and bad performances. And I think from a fan perspective and from an analyst perspective, it gets really easy to justify whatever opinion you want to have, right? I mean, if you want to say, you want to be a fan and say Georgia sucks, you can point to the Kentucky game. If you want to say we're going to kill Alabama, you can point to the Clemson game. On Alabama's side, they had a South Florida game. It was one that I think most Alabama fans won't forget. Then they had Western Kentucky and Wisconsin games where they kind of dominated the competition. But even in the Wisconsin game, Wisconsin loses their starting quarterback. So all those things just make it really hard to suss out. I think to some degree it makes it kind of fun because there's a lot of arguments on both sides. The great thing about college football is these two teams have to play on the field. We have to see who's the better team. But in the interim, lies, damn lies, and statistics, it's really hard to say what any of this really means, right? I mean, we run a computer model. We can talk about that in a minute. But all the statistical stuff you'd want to look at with these two teams, it's all really colored by the fact that they've had a lot of weird games. Even Georgia against Kentucky, they lose an All-American guard in that game. They've let off the accelerator some. And so I don't know that even looking at the math, the objective neutral thing is actually that objective or neutral. I think it's all about context. It's all about eye test. And it's a lot about scheme, in my opinion.
All right. Would you agree that Alabama is a better team now than what they were last year?
I would agree with that.
Okay. Would you agree that Georgia is less than a team than they were last year?
I would probably agree with that.
Okay. And so that's in my head. I'm looking at it going, Georgia's less, Alabama's more. Alabama beat them on neutral field. Now you got to counter it back to Bryant-Denny Stadium, and you say, I guess maybe you look at Kalen DeBoer and you say, well, this is first big test, but he's passed a lot of these tests. So it's just kind of something I was thinking about from my perspective, and I said I was going to ask you, and I did. So that's the way I look at it. I mean, I know it's kind of simple, but till the heat of the game and turnovers, but for the touchdowns, because Georgia's not given up any touchdowns, 0 this year. They've given up 6 field goals. They only given up 6 points per game. Is that stat confirm what your eyeballs tell you?
I think so. When you talk about Alabama being better than they were last year, Georgia being worse, I think Georgia, it may be a question of slightly worse. I think in the front seven, maybe they're not as dominant a defensive line as they have been in some recent years, but I think linebacker being healthy is good. It's important to remember, and let me say this, Ryan, I know it's a Tuscaloosa audience, but we got to be really honest, right? If you're willing to say that Alabama lost to Georgia because they lost their 2 starting wide receivers a few years ago, right, 2021, which I think is a completely reasonable argument given how good Jamison Williams was, given how good Mechie was. I think it's also reasonable to say Georgia may have lost to Alabama because they lost Brock Bowers and Land McConkey, the first round and second round receiving target.
Sure.
I think both those things may be true. And so when you say Georgia's lesser, I think they're lesser than they were in the middle of last year. I don't really know if they're lesser than the version Alabama played in that SEC title because they were banged up at linebacker. They were missing their top receiving targets. None of the other guys, I think, were really that comfortable. But defensively, I think they're as good as they were. And the other thing I want to say, Ryan, is it's easy to point to that and talk about their scoring defense. And let me say, you can go to collegefootballnerds.com and we have a whole stats website. And we have something called relative performance, which just basically means rather than saying what's your scoring defense, we're saying based on what you should have done versus your schedule, how well did you do, right? Are you 50% better than an average team would have been against your schedule? Are you 100% better? Because we all know that people play different schedules. Everything's uneven. And in scoring defense in our system, Georgia's number 1 and Alabama's number 4. So these are two phenomenal defenses. I actually question a little bit, though. I mean, I think Georgia's been a little bit tested in the passing game. Alabama's secondary last year was absolutely phenomenal. And even if you think they're still good this year, and I think there's an argument for that they've managed to put something together, I don't think you can sit here and argue that they're as good as they were with Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold, and Caleb Downs in that secondary. Like those were elite defensive backs. So I do think there's sort of an avenue there that with all these things, there's just so much unproven that I'm almost hesitant to answer a lot of questions about how they were compared to last year. I just don't think we know yet.
So when you look at this Georgia matchup, okay, what favors them is their ability to run the football. A disadvantage for Alabama is slowing down the run. We also heard Kane Womack talk about maybe some schematic-wise they've held back. For one, would you buy that? Do you buy that they're holding back some of the defensive? He said, when we thought we were going to win, I'm not saying they melted in, but they didn't show everything. Do you think that they can fix that in a bye week? Should that be a concern from an Alabama perspective here in T-Town?
Well, for people who have been listening to your show or following our show on YouTube, you would know that in the preseason, when we were going over the scheme, Ryan, I told you, this Alabama defense is going to be better against the zone read teams. It's going to be better against teams like Auburn in the scheme they run. It's going to be better against teams like Tennessee in the scheme they run, which is all about the zone read with the quarterback as a dual threat quarterback, spreading the receivers out and hitting those deep RPOs. This scheme is better for that. It's much more aggressive. It attacks the backfield, gets back there, disrupts the mesh point on those zone reads. It also has a zone defense in the back end that it's harder for guys to get lost because they don't turn their head. They're watching the quarterback. And they don't get beat with those RPOs as bad. The flip side, though, I told you was all that stuff does make it harder sometimes to stop really good running games. We saw that a little bit against Wisconsin. We've seen it a couple times with most of their opponents. When they're attacking all these gaps, if you shoot a gap, you go off a guy's left shoulder and then the running back hits the other gap on his right shoulder, you're not there. And Alabama before used to be a little bit passive. They would play the line of scrimmage, stand the guy up. They weren't trying to get in the backfield. I know it frustrated fans, but it meant that when the running back came to hit a hole, that defensive lineman could go left or he could go right. Whichever way the running back went, he could get either hole. And it was really, really hard to run on that defense. Consistently one of the best run defenses in college football. Saban's scheme was built around stopping the run first and having good enough elite defensive back player in the back end that they could survive in the secondary, sometimes excel in the secondary despite how much they focused on the run. This defense is not built that way. And so I do think Georgia is going to have more success on the ground than maybe Alabama fans are used to. That's not really even a flaw in the defense. It's just a trade-off of this defense. And I told you preseason, Ryan, and you can verify this. I said, Alabama has been built to beat Georgia. And they are not built to beat Georgia right now. This defense is not necessarily schemed to do that. And I think they're good enough, and Georgia has enough offensive problems that they can stop it. But just talking scheme on scheme, it is an issue for Alabama. I mean, our model has them giving up over 4 yards a carry, which has been a long time since they did that in a big game. So I do think Georgia is going to have some success running the football.
Where do you think this game will be played? 20s, 30s, less? Because I know I'm looking at your model, and the model has. I know you and Daniel kind of set it up against saying, okay, we're only 4 games of data. Where do you think this game will be played?
Yeah, so our model has this game 15-11.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that low. Both of these teams, right, had a couple real offensive clunkers, kind of driving stuff down. Also, the projections are just super low. I predicted this to be 24-21. I had Alabama. Daniel basically had the same score but flipped. I think both of us feel like this is a game that may come down to, who muffs a punt, who has an interception. I'll tell you, Ryan, it's funny when you do predictions like this. My perspective is if I have the pick as a reasonable pick in the fourth quarter, right? If it's 15 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and you think, well, Josh might end up being perfectly right, I've succeeded. Anything that happens past that point, there's no way on earth I could predict it. And, Michigan fans, I think I had them losing 27-23, and they get a pick six and win by a touchdown. It's like, well, I have the exact score. If you don't score that touchdown, how in the world is that a bad pick? But, fans are what they are. But, yeah, I have this low 20s. I think this is a game that can go either way. I think the challenge in trying to handicap it, and I think Vegas has the same issue because they've got it hovering around just, a 1.5, 2 points, keeps getting bought down. This thing's going to hinge on small plays. It's going to hinge on one or two mistakes. Ryan, it's like an NFL matchup. I mean, these teams have NFL caliber talent and they have NFL caliber coaching. And it's NFL style in terms of it's a lot of strength on strength. And just like the NFL, you get two teams, they can play 4 times in the same year and you can get 4 wildly different outcomes. And I do think that's the way this game's going to be. And so, it's just going to depend a lot on who comes out right, how the game flows, who knows. And, I hear you guys have a little bit of bad weather headed your way, so who knows? Maybe that's even a factor.
Well, and Saturday I was actually talking with someone that's coming in as an honorary captain and kind of looking ahead. When you look at the weather, it doesn't seem to be, unless they've changed it. I know we've had the hurricane, we have some moisture, but it's supposed to be, we're on the dry side of the hurricane, which I don't really understand that concept, but we're on the western side. So like tomorrow, the high is going to be 80, but it's a 15% chance of rain. Friday, 18% chance of rain, but 76. And then Saturday, the high. I mean, think about this for football weather. 76 on the high on Saturday. So clouds, overcast, could be some wind. But as far as the moisture, it's going to be long gone, according to the projections. Now, they could be wrong, but we got a bunch of rain overnight. But I think it's going to get plenty of time to maybe be out of here. So that's something to kind of look at.
Yeah, well, I lived in Alabama for
true,
over 25 years, and I know well enough, especially when hurricanes are involved. I don't make any assumptions on what the weather will or will not be till the day before.
It's probably easier to predict football than it is weather.
Yeah, I think all of us, we feel like we do what we do, and then James Spann gets on television, and we all just stop and listen because I don't know how he does his job. That's a whole other level.
Do you think offense beats defense? Elite offense, elite defense. Who wins out? I'm not saying Georgia, Alabama. I'm just saying in the future because I think this conversation about Kirby versus Kalen DeBoer, offensive-minded, defensive-minded, what wins?
3 years ago, Ryan, I would have told you offense. This year, I think I answer defense. And the reason has a lot to do with just changing schemes. And, it's great to have these conversations with you, and hopefully people keep tuning in because we kind of evolved this over the course of the year, right? The defensive schemes that came up in the NFL, the reason Patrick Mahomes is no longer putting up 60 points a game, they did a lot of stuff with zone coverage. They've made it really, really hard for quarterbacks to see what a defense is doing. And Alabama fans probably remember the 92 championship game, right, where they lined everybody at the line of scrimmage man-to-man, and they would kind of back out of it. And you could tell that Gino Toretto was just completely lost at the snap. And that pass rush got home, and they shut down a phenomenal Miami offense. Well, teams have kind of, everything's cyclical, and defenses have kind of gone back to some of the weird concepts like that. And it's all about confusing the quarterback now. It's all about rushing the passer. And they're going to give you one-on-ones. They're going to give you guys open over the top. I think Alabama fans have kind of freaked out because they've seen tape of guys running free. But the point is they make it so confusing to find that guy, and they make so much pressure. It is so hard for the quarterback to realize he has a guy wide open, and he has so little time to do it. And it's a big shift from, the man coverage stuff Saban used to run. Man coverage was what everyone ran in the NFL 5 years ago, and now they all run zone. And you're seeing the same thing in college. It's been very effective. Scores around college football, yeah, they're lower because of the clock rules, but they're lower because defense has caught up. This always works out, right? One steps forward, the other catches up. Defenses have caught up. So a few years ago, I felt like an elite offense could score 40 points no matter what. I don't think that's the case anymore, Ryan. I think if you've got an elite defense and they're playing at a high level, and we saw this the last 2 years, especially last year with Michigan, who has Minter, he is an NFL defensive coordinator. There's a reason he's in the NFL and doing a pretty good job. He brought a lot of those concepts down, and it shut down Alabama more or less in the Rose Bowl. So, I do think defense wins over offense right now just because of the state of the game. But I'll say, Ryan, that Georgia offense still has to play the Alabama defense. And, I don't know that Mike Bobo versus Kane Womack isn't a bigger mismatch than DeBoer versus Smart.
Okay. Well, maybe that's the biggest surprise of this 2024 version of Alabama, because defensively, they're probably a step ahead where we thought it would be.
Yeah, I think there's a real argument for that. As I said, when we run our match tricks in terms of scoring defense, we've got Alabama fourth in the country right now. And, there's a lot of thought, ourselves included, that, we kind of wondered whether or not they were going to be able to replicate the kind of defense they'd had, especially losing so many guys in the secondary. Look, when you talk about returning starters and path to success, people always point out the offensive line. I'm telling you, as a fact, statistically, the thing that determines your ability to win year to year is how many returning secondary players you have, statistically. And I think the reason for that, probably trying to figure out why that's the case, is because it's so hard to play in the secondary. And, if one guy messes up in the secondary, it's a touchdown. And there's really nowhere else on the field where one mistake is an instant touchdown, but it is the case in the secondary. But, yeah, Alabama last year, I'm looking at drive-to-drive scoring defense. So Brian Fremeau's a friend of ours. He runs FEI. You can go to bcftoys.com. He's a great free stat website. But last year, Alabama was 8th in the country in points per drive allowed. Okay, so points per possession. This year, they're second. Georgia's first. So, yeah, it's not just that there hasn't been a fall off. Statistically, Ryan, they're better. And I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Josh, take this final question and talk about the YouTube account. When you look at, you and Daniel had 37 minutes and 18 seconds of Alabama-Georgia preview. You and I have been talking for 16. You've given a lot of data points, but you guys are able to dive a little deeper into that. That's available on the YouTube channel, the College Football Nerds. On the model projection, you guys have opened those up, and you can go through and you can look up Alabama-Tennessee in a couple of weeks or wherever you want to go. Promote the website, promote all the content.
Sure. So we're College Football Nerds. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify. If you watch our content some, please subscribe, like, comment, share it. It helps us out a ton. We're a small channel. I'm a patent attorney by trade, a partner in a firm. I spent the last 4 days at a big conference on AI. And I find time to do this because I enjoy it. And I love college football, and I grew up in the Deep South. So, it's a labor of love, and it means a lot when people tell us they like the content and share it. You can also find us on Twitter at CFB Nerds. And you can go to our website, again, just collegefootballnerds.com. And we talk about a model. You can go in there and you can model any game. So you can model Alabama versus Auburn, and the computer models we use, we have it built. It'll instantly pop up a result and tell you right now. And the way we have it built, it says right now based only on how they've played this year. It doesn't care what the brand name is. It doesn't care what the recruiting is. Just based purely on the few games that have been played, this is what it thinks the outcome will be. And I'll tell you right now, it has Alabama winning by a lot. But you can do that in any team. We even do our own power rankings, which I think is sometimes kind of interesting because, again, we don't care what the preseason polls are. The computer just knows based on the field this year, this is how good it thinks everyone is. And so, yeah, check it all out. And if you like it, let us know and share it with your friends.
CFB Nerds on the Twitter account, on the YouTube, collegefootballnerds.com, collegefootballnerds.com. We'll link you to all those great things. Josh, have a great rest of your day, man, and great week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Josh. College Football Nerds will continue with more of the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The Bucks got your back. Provided by Hartford Fire Insurance Company, not AARP or its affiliates. Individual savings vary. The Hartford pays a royalty fee to AARP, which is used for external purposes. For information and restrictions, go to thehartford.com.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
The game is powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. David DeSantis, the largest selection of new Toyotas in over 3 years, can be found on Skyline Boulevard, 3325 Skyline Boulevard. Also a nice inventory of pre-owned inventory. You can find the new Tundra, the 2024, the Tacoma two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. How about a new 4Runner, Highlander, RAV4, Camry, Corolla? For those outside of Tuscaloosa, save money by driving to Tuscaloosa and buying here with a great tax rate. Customer service is a priority at Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Cloudy with occasional rain this afternoon and tonight. Maybe a thunderstorm in spots as well. The high today 78, the low tonight 65. For tomorrow, cloudy, rain likely much of the day. The high in the mid-70s at 74 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Need to know what's going on with the Crimson Tide? Then subscribe to our YouTube channel for exclusive content on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
It's the greatest time of the year. Kickoff is here, and football is officially back. Over 1 million fans across 33 different states got in the game last year by competing on Underdog. Went up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite players, touchdowns, passing yards, rushing yards. You can do it on the professional side or the college football side. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and also signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app, UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with a promo code Fowler, Fowler. Underdog will give you a free pick just to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Fowler, Fowler, to claim your new customer special of a free pick. And your deposit offer must be 19 in the state of Alabama, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Underdog Fantasy, higher or lower on your favorite players. Check it out. Promo code Fowler, Fowler. Hey, look ahead at that Alabama-Georgia game. You can do that right there on Underdog Fantasy. We're going to PFF. We're going to do that coming up in just a couple of seconds, and then we're done with guests on a Southern Ale House score prediction day. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
On the next Inside the Locker Room with Coach Wimp Sanderson and Barry Sanderson.
Tune in Tuesday, 7:30. We'll have J.C. Sherbert. We'll go around the ACC with J.C., brought to you by Yellowwood. In the second hour, Dad will pick his blue plate special coming off a victory in the Tennessee game. Hopefully he will get hot. Plus we'll
prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at VaxAssist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
For over 5 years in our community in downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge, Mark's Mark, the home of the chicken swirl. You'll find that since 1978 in Selma, Alabama. For over 5 years in downtown Northport. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, find Mark's Mark. A great stop by on your way home. If you're preparing for dinner, they've got a lot of those gourmet dishes that you can find, the great casseroles, the dips, the appetizers, the great steaks, the pork chops, the burgers, and all the supplies you need.
Unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile.
Forever!
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Forever!
You're inside the game on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
We welcome you right back into the game. Nuke's Eatery, if you're looking for a great sandwich on the campus of the University of Alabama from 5 to 500. Catering options, tailgating options. If you want a French dip sandwich, that's a great place to go. How about a Nuke's Q sandwich? That wonderful chicken, white barbecue sauce, great salads, California-style pizzas. Go see Joel Bromfield, 205 University Boulevard, close enough that you can smell the championships right there on the campus of the University of Alabama. Right now, we're going to go to ProFootballFocus.com. I've had a great relationship with these guys. I love the data points. We go back to Gordon McGinnis when Gordon was a Pro Football Focus guy, but he was a college football guy. Now he's moved in more of a leadership. Anthony Tresh was another guy that we featured. Max Chadwick's a guy that we're getting to know. And right now, we're going to welcome in Dalton Wasserman. You look at ProFootballFocus.com, the college football show, co-host of PFF. He's a guy that helps us talk college football. Dalton, welcome back to T-Town, man. Welcome into busy Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Hope all is well, man.
I appreciate you having me on and joining that group of guys that you just mentioned right there, man. They're all great guys to work with. And actually, you mentioned Anthony Tresh. He's actually the director of analytics at Notre Dame now. So just some really great guys to work with and to be around and to talk football with. It's fantastic. We have a lot of fun around here.
You know, I need to send Anthony a congratulations message. I did not realize that he had moved into that role, but many, many years ago, Dalton, I'll tell you a funny story. This was like 20 years ago. I'm in a stats class in the business school here in grad school, and we had an analytic guest speaker that came and said, one day you're going to have people in analytics offices in college football stadiums helping coordinators predict plays. And we were like, no way. They're going to have prediction models. And to hear that Anthony Tresh has made that jump, that brings a smile to my face, man, because it means that college football is embracing the stat side of things. I love it.
Absolutely. He's got such a great football mind, and he's certainly helping them over there. I know they had the one tough loss, but they've gotten back on the horse the last two games, and they got themselves a big game this week too against Louisville. So it'll be fun to watch Tresh and the Irish the rest of the season for sure.
Hey, Dalton, I want to just ask you, not from an Alabama-Georgia breakdown, but let me ask you what you see in Kalen DeBoer as a head coach.
Oh, I mean, look, he's as brilliant an offensive mind, especially as there is. And that's just a guy who knows how to win, right? I mean, what's his record? It's something like 110-12. I forget the exact number, but this is a guy who knows how to win. He's got a very direct approach, and I just love the way, and it's why I was so glad that Jalen Milroe didn't depart to go anywhere else, because his offenses always create explosive plays, and it was just such a great fit. I thought, honestly, when you think about the fit with Milroe, and I know losing the greatest coach of all time, honestly, it's obviously there's going to be some sort of there's an aura that leaves you when a guy like Nick Saban leaves. But DeBoer, I think, was as good a fit for this team as you could have possibly had. And we're about to find that out now in the bigger games in this schedule, because there's a lot of them coming, including this week.
Yeah, and you mentioned his record. He's also 12-2 against top 25 teams. So, it kind of classifies as more of a big game coach. But he's a guy that is 107-12. I don't care where you win those games at. I think he was 67-3 at Sioux Falls. 3 losses. That's impressive. I mean, 3 national titles, and you say, well, hold on, it's Sioux Falls. But to counter that, you're also playing with Sioux Falls talent. So you got to be able to scheme, and you've watched him take big steps with Jalen Milroe, and we don't think that this offense is even probably 50-60% implemented.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not even fully clicking yet. There's more things they could put in. And you're working with some young kids, some of them as young as 17 years old, with a guy like Ryan Williams, right? And a lot of guys, you got a couple of running backs who didn't play a ton last year. You got receivers who are trying to figure it out, Jeremy Bernard and Parker Brailsford, guys like that coming with DeBoer from Washington. So, and the Caden Proctor injury, and they've had some shuffling on their offensive line until this past week. So, look, there's been a lot of factors that could have made this more difficult, but the fact that it's been smooth sailing despite probably only being at about, like you mentioned, 50, 60, maybe 70% between chemistry and execution on their offense is a really positive sign, and it just shows how well DeBoer can continue to adjust week in and week out.
Dalton, what else do you think, and I know we're guessing, but when you look at this offense, understanding who Kalen DeBoer is, what do you think's left? What do you think they can implement that they haven't showed, just from schematic-wise, with Jalen Milroe's skill set?
Honestly, I think schematically, like they're fine, and I love the way, especially sometimes they're using empty sets, right? Because it makes it very hard. You have to make a decision when teams go empty, and you have the athletes on the outside like Alabama does. But Milroe's always that rushing threat, and the more space that he has, and the more time that he has in the backfield, the more dangerous he gets. I think the one thing for me with this offense, and I'm curious to see what Kirby Smart does this weekend, is Milroe. There's a pretty big drop-off in his passing production when he gets blitzed, right? He likes to hold the ball for a long time. For us, he has one of the highest average time to throws in the country. We saw it against Georgia last year, even though Alabama won. We saw it in the Michigan game. Eventually, that Michigan just blitzed him in every big situation. It's adding to me a little bit more quick game and getting Milroe against the blitz to play just a little bit faster, so that's not the one kryptonite thing there. And look, Washington last year was one of the best teams at pass protecting the blitz. And there, you can tell already that it's better. It's going to get better. Caden Proctor was their highest graded pass blocker last week in his first game. And as the offensive line continues to gel, he will be protected. So it's really about getting Milroe sometimes himself to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker, just in certain situations. You know, I'm not saying he has to be like Tom Brady and get rid of the ball in 2 seconds every play, because the beauty of Milroe is that he's a home run hitter. But to be able to check it down and make those quick throws to beat pressure instead of running around it all the time is a huge key moving forward.
Let's go to the defensive side of the football. Alabama has given up some rushing attempts and really showed in some games that, you know, South Florida was a game that they didn't tackle that great. I'm sure the coaching staff would tell you the same thing. At Wisconsin, didn't tackle good on a couple different drives. But when you look at Alabama's defense, is that a concern going into this game?
A little bit, because Georgia wants to lean into a really good offensive line and their run game. And Deontay Lawson was the guy who was spectacular against Wisconsin. And I think for me, what I see, I don't see that big. LT Overton's really good, but I don't see the big imposing presence that Alabama's defensive line usually has that it's had in past years, even with guys like, you know, last year with Turner and Braswell or Will Anderson off the edge the year before, and so many great Alabama defensive lines that we've seen. I think that's a unit that's kind of coming along, and while they are, it's kind of asking a lot of their second-level guys to make tackles. And first of all, they're probably never going to schedule a USF again, if I were taking a guess, because of the way the two games the last 2 years went. But
unfortunately, there's another one. It was a 2-for-1. So not next year, but in 2026, there's probably no reason to analyze 2026, but they will make another return trip to Tuscaloosa. I hope they'll buy them out somehow.
Oh boy, yeah. See, I actually didn't know that. It's good you bring that up. Well, maybe that'll probably be then the last one, considering how these two went. But USF is in their own right a really good running team, and Wisconsin is traditionally known for running the football. So it is a challenge, and it's going to be, I think, a huge key this week against Georgia. They got a great offensive line, and they got 3 really good running backs that can cause problems for a defense. And Georgia's going to want to play. I think they're going to want to play a slower, physical, grinding kind of game against Bama.
All right. And going back to that, is that because of the personnel? Because there's been a lot that's been said about Georgia's receivers, being able to stretch the field, being able to do some things offensively they want to do with Carson Beck. What do you see in their wide receiver unit?
I think it's absolutely because of the personnel. I think what you've seen from Georgia these first 3 weeks, and especially in that game against Kentucky, is the lack of Brock Bowers, you know, and Ladd McConkey, right? Those two guys are top 40 picks in the NFL, and they have yet to replace them with any explosive threats, right? Dominic Lovett's okay on the outside. You've got Arian Smith. You've got some tight ends. You know, I think we thought they would get more out of an Oscar Delp or a Ben Urasek, and now they got Lawson Lucky too. They're trying to find explosive plays, especially when they can't work off of play action. Right now, in obvious passing situations and true drop back situations, Georgia is struggling. And I don't think it's so much Carson Beck, is that they're just not getting a whole lot of separation right now. They don't, like Bowers and McConkey were both top flight number one type of targets. And it doesn't look like they have even one of those guys on their team, at least right this minute, until somebody else levels up and emerges as that guy. That right now is the biggest weakness for Georgia.
Let's go to the secondary for Georgia. Is there some money to be made, as Nick Saban would like to say? He talks about money being left on the table and all these different things that he used to say, so we've been kind of accustomed to that for the last 17 years. Is there some money to be made in that Georgia secondary?
They can make it happen, but they need to be selective, because that's really, to me, that's still the best part of Georgia's team, is when you talk about an all-world safety like Malachi Starks. We talk about young kids. You got Julian Humphrey at corner. Got Ellis Robinson, who's been playing a little bit at corner. I mean, you've got really, really talented guys in their secondary. Dan Jackson's playing well. It's a well-rounded unit, and Georgia is still one of the best teams at preventing explosive play. So it is a big matchup, but I do think Bama, same thing. I think they want to assert themselves at the line of scrimmage as well before they start getting into all these big plays, because I think the same thing applies. It's Georgia secondary, best part of their defense. And if you go just chucking deep shots into it, I mean, we've seen, especially at safety, Malachi Starks is amazing. What he can do to make plays on the back end and pick the ball off is incredible. I think the team with more balance in this game is going to be at a big advantage. And the team that doesn't force shots into, both teams have great secondaries in this game. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch how both these teams can create big plays. But going back to Kalen DeBoer, one of the things he is best at is creating those deep shots and creating one-on-one matchups. So you've got a fascinating matchup right there with Bama and Milroe and their weapons against Georgia's secondary.
Yeah, and Ron Williams is a guy that you feel like that there's more there, right? You don't feel, and we saw a little bit of creativity in the Wisconsin game. You pushed him inside, got him isolated on a safety, and it was no chance that he was going to be able to stay with Ryan Williams off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that about getting on safeties and getting threats on safeties, especially a guy like Williams, because that's the one thing I always felt with DeBoer's offense in Washington last year. I said this with his offense last year. If he gets on your safeties, just walk off the field, because that is the most dangerous part. And it's an interesting matchup, again, with Starks and Jackson at safety for Georgia, and a kid with Ryan Williams' speed. He is, I remember watching him in that very first game, and I said, oh, this is the perfect fit. This is Kalen DeBoer's guy, because he can do that. You can move him around. You can get him on safeties, and he's just absolutely going to torch them. So it's a fantastic matchup, and the more that they get to use Williams in a more movable role, and the more, at the youngest kid in college football, the more he starts learning the offense, and the more versatility he can add to the offense, he's going to be an incredible asset.
I know I'm skipping all over the place, but I'm just kind of excited to get your thoughts on a lot of different things. Let's go to Tate Ratledge. Not going to be available at the right guard spot, according to Georgia. Likely will be without for him for a few weeks. He's a guy that's, if you look at the PFF draft model, he's a guy that's highly considered. When you look at that, how do they replace him?
Look, you've got a guy in Micah Morris who's been playing at right guard, who's been playing really well also. I mean, we saw him. He played in the Tennessee Tech game. He played in Kentucky, and they rotate their guys in some, but this is the main guy. And the biggest thing is we have yet to see a drop-off in pass protection, and which is amazing considering I would argue Tate Ratledge is the best pass-protecting guard in the country, and Micah Morris has stepped in his spot and filled in just fine. So Georgia still has a lot of depth in the trenches, even though Ratledge is a superstar. I think it's still going to be tough for Alabama to win those one-on-one matchups, because Georgia's so good in pass protection.
Dalton, at the end of the day, who wins this game?
I have Alabama winning this game 27-20. I think this game gets decided when how often and how effective Georgia is in like 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 scenarios. They've been struggling to throw the ball without play action. When they have to just drop back, it's been an issue for them. We mentioned the weapons before and the lack of dominant receivers. And Bama, for us, is still 12th in the nation in coverage grade. And they're just in yards per coverage snap, they are by far number 1 in the country. They only have the 2 interceptions from Keon Sabb against Western Kentucky, but Bama's secondary is still lights out even without Saban. Obviously, this is a step up playing Carson Beck compared to the first 3 games, but you've got a team in Georgia. I think those are the plays where it gets decided. As long as if Bama stops the run and how often they can stop the run and get Georgia in 3rd and long, does Georgia have the weapons to separate against Bama on 3rd down? If they do that and they keep drives moving, then I think Bama's in trouble. But I'm taking the side where I know what Alabama's secondary is. I don't know who or what Georgia's weapons are right now on a primetime level. I like Alabama and their defense and a little bit of their run game too. I think Jam Miller, Georgia's been a little vulnerable against the run. I think Jam Miller's in for a big game too.
Dalton, I want you to promote everything that you're involved in. Take as much time as you need.
Let's see. So we've got our written content on PFF.com, and our premium content and all our fantasy tools and betting tools and everything like that is available with a PFF Plus subscription, including and all the grades as well, everything we've talked about today. PFF College Football Show. We do a review show where we review. So Sunday, you will certainly see us talking about this game. Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern, myself and Max Chadwick. Tuesdays, we preview the biggest games of the coming weekend. That's Tuesdays at 6 p.m. We just did that. The Georgia-Bama preview is on YouTube right now. And myself, I'm on the NFL review show on Mondays at 1 o'clock with Trevor Sikkema as well. So all three shows, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, is where you can see me, as well as the website for all of our content, all our great analysts, and all our great content.
And at PFF_Dalton, you can connect with Dalton Westerman helping us out. Dalton, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you making time for us this afternoon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, thank you. Absolutely. Enjoyed the conversation. We'll continue with more of the game. Pee Wee and Grand Bay. We're all phone calls for the remaining part of the 2 hours and 10 minutes right here. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Remember M for money and Mesrano.
If it has a logo on it, call me. 205-800-8000.
Alabama Credit Union with the official countdown to Alabama Crimson Tide football right here on the game. AlabamaCU.com. The mobile app saves a lot of time. The mobile deposits, checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle, the great competitive rates. Alabama Credit Union.
Of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Rumsey Environmental, a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. If you're in the construction business, take a little bit of stress out of your life. The construction debris removal containers customized to fit your job site, the portable toilet service, the storage containers to protect your valuables. It's Rumsey Environmental for that complete waste removal service. When you
can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Cloudy with occasional rain this afternoon and tonight. Maybe a thunderstorm in spots as well. The high today 78, the low tonight 65. For tomorrow, cloudy, rain likely much of the day. The high in the mid-70s at 74 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
For more from Tide 100.9, let it fly! Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and SoundCloud.
Hey, appreciate Dalton. Let's continue the conversation. Alabama, Georgia. Let's go to Pee Wee in Grand Bay. Pee Wee, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Oh, it's all going great, Ryan. How's everything going up there, brother?
It's good, man. It's good. I mean, we're kind of getting a preview of maybe what Pee Wee's going to ask Kayla DeBoer later tonight on this same station right here, the Kayla DeBoer Show, starting at 6:30 with Chris Stewart.
Well, it probably, maybe not. I don't know, because I don't surely know what I'm going to ask yet. Okay. But, last week, or not last week, but 2 weeks ago, the offensive line against Wisconsin played the best game that they've played all year. They had 2 false start penalties, but other than that, they played outstanding. Even Wilkin Formby and Gino came in, and both of them played well as well. Formby actually had a block to spring open a touchdown, and it was great to see because we're going to need those guys. We're going to need them this Saturday to come in the rotation to give our guys a little bit of breather so they can all be fresh when the fourth quarter gets here.
Good point.
So, you had been talking about how Georgia played against Kentucky in the run. It wasn't that great, and hopefully that wasn't just a one-time fluke. Hopefully we can get some running game going against them because that will certainly open up our passing game, and even, maybe even give Jalen some plays on maybe a fake dive or something like that and sprint around the end. But, I feel really good about this game as long as we don't make a lot of stupid, silly mistakes, stuff that hurts us, kills drives, takes away first downs when we could have, and knocks us off the field. That's the kind of stuff that's going to beat us, in my opinion.
You like Alabama?
Oh, yeah. I feel good. I feel confident about this game.
Yeah, it's so weird that I'm so confident against a Georgia team that I'm almost like trying to talk myself out of it.
Well, I almost look at it this way, Ryan. It's not so much as against the Georgia team. I'm getting more confident in our team to play to their ability and not really, it's all about them and what they do more than what it is about the opponent. Just the same thing like Coach used to talk about. You got to win that play, every play, and be confident that you can dominate your opponent. And I'm feeling better and better that we can do more and more of that.
At the end of the day, Pee Wee, I'm ready for a score prediction, man. A chance to win a Southern Ale House gift card, as well as a Mark Smart gift card, some roses courtesy of Pat's Florist, downtown Tuscaloosa, 1010 Queen City Avenue, Daniel Moore, 2025 calendar and a mini print. Talk to me.
I am going to go Alabama 31, Georgia 24.
Ooh, okay, I'll take it right now. Jalen Milroe passing yards is our tiebreaker.
237.
Pee Wee, when you headed this way?
I'm actually headed out to Bessemer tomorrow to go hang out with some friends that I stay with at their house when they're in Tuscaloosa. And then I'll be headed over to Tuscaloosa. Friday, we'll hang out there for the afternoon and part of the evening, and then back early Saturday morning for a fun-filled day of fun, thrills, tailgate, good food, great friends, and a lot of Bama fans.
Yeah, this town, Pee Wee, we've all experienced some big games. Never seen the town like this early. I mean, you're only on a Wednesday, and it's already off the charts when you're talking about excitement, the build-up. It's here, and, I guess that's the fun part about, building this thing up, because it's definitely grabs our attention on a lot of different fronts.
Yeah, I would say that this is probably the biggest game since the game of the century, versus LSU, because it was slammed that day too, and all week, because game day was in town. You had a lot of high profile people in town, and people came in early, but I just can't do like I did that day, man. I spent about 7 hours in Gillettes that day.
We won't tell anybody, Pee Wee. We won't tell anybody.
It was a great time, though, man. That weekend is one of the best weekends I've ever spent in Tuscaloosa. Was that weekend, even though we ended up losing that game. But as far as the weekend as a whole, that's probably one of the best times I've had in Tuscaloosa.
Pee Wee, we appreciate you being part of the show. We can't wait to listen later on with you and Kalen DeBoer leading out that first question.
All right, I appreciate that, and I'll try to holler back on you on Friday, brother.
Hey, thank you, Pee Wee. Have a great rest of your day, man.
You too. Thank you. Roll Tide.
Pee Wee in Grand Bay, Alabama. You'll be able to listen to him. The Kalen DeBoer Show starting at 6:30. That'll be a ton of fun. We're going right back to the phone.
Can assist you with all of your CPAP needs, including the new Luna Travel CPAP. Call 339-8013 or stop by Mid-South in the Northbrook Plaza on McFarland Boulevard.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Beyer.
Houston Astros clinched the AL West last night. They're playing the Mariners today. Seattle's up 5-1 heading to the ninth inning. Important for the Mariners in the case that they're currently 2.5 back of the final wild card. A slight hope of trying to break through. Eagles wide receivers A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were not seen at the team's practice that was open to the media. Packers quarterback Jordan Love limited in practice today, while Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh said that Justin Herbert could be limited in their practice. Harbaugh did say an MRI on the sprained ankle of Herbert on Monday did give them positive results, as he says the ankle injury is progressing. Former Chargers wide receiver and current Bear wideout Keenan Allen was limited in practice today. He's missed the last 2 games with a heel injury, while the Commanders are ruling running back Austin Eckler out against Arizona because of a concussion. Tonight in the WNBA playoffs, Fever at the Sun, Mercury in Minnesota.
Don Wallace CPA, 527 Main Avenue in downtown Northport. Small business and personal income taxes, payroll, sales tax needs. They can also help you with nonprofit or church accounting or auditing. In business since 1999, they work for you, not the IRS. When you take on taxes, you got to have someone on your side. It's Don Wallace CPA.
Craft, Dirt Baits, Bass and Habits, and Castaway Fish Co. shirts and hats. Castaway Fish Co. located next to the new Dunkin' Donuts on McFarland Boulevard in Northport.
Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. As you know, it's one of my favorite places. Eat Southern, be Southern, the daily lunch and dinner specials, the great menu that features that Southern cuisine, like the bacon wrapped meatloaf, the fish and taters, the biscuit sandwiches, the great steaks, the great chicken entrees, great sandwiches, including the pickle burger, the Ale House burger, the yard bird, great desserts, and always that featured bread pudding that Brett Garner's cooking up. Let Southern Ale House cater your special.
Bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits, and if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
I got spirit, I got faith. I might bend, but I won't break. I'll fight the elements. And I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down. This ain't our home. Nah, not even close. They camouflage like we fighting some ghosts.
We are 41 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide basketball. Alabama Crimson Tide basketball, and actually bought a couple of season tickets just to help, from time to time. Like to give things away on the air. Went ahead and purchased those. Ended up putting those last night on the old American Express. Get some points, might as well. I don't carry a balance, but went ahead and did that last night. So we get ready for Nate Oates basketball season. A lot of fun. Final Four. Was talking to a friend of mine, and hey, there's still a few tickets out there. You guys call 348 BAMA if you're looking for some of those basketball tickets. But Georgia, don't have any concern. Hey, speaking of tickets, I just got a notice from the University of Alabama. The University of Alabama is looking forward to welcoming another sellout crowd. The Crimson Tide football game on Saturday, hosting Georgia at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, while the UA ticket office wishes to remind fans of the potential danger of being sold counterfeit tickets at Tide home games. So if you have any doubt about the validity of those tickets, you can visit the UA ticket office at Coleman Coliseum to verify those tickets during regular business hours from 8 till 5. Monday through Friday on game day, those tickets can be verified by university officials beginning at 2 p.m. at gate number 4 Northwest and gate number 44 East. That is at Saban Field. Oh, I like the way they're doing this. Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's all over the place, right? Unfortunately, counter tickets sold on the internet and by individuals around the stadium and campus on game day can lead to some fans being defrauded. UA ticket office would like to remind those fans of any purchases a stolen or counterfeit ticket may be denied admission to the gates, and individuals trying to gain with the entry a ticket can be found fraudulent, could be subject to an investigation. So the University of Alabama just put out a notice. Any of these big games. Let's continue with more scores. We'll predict right here on a Southern Ale House Score Prediction Day. We're powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. Mobile. Robert, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Hey, dude.
How are you, Robert?
Well, anytime the Donald shows up, it's a big, whatever the event is, gets amplified gets amplified double whenever the Donald shows up. You got the most popular man on the planet coming to the game. So, yeah, that kind of revs things up a bit. It worked out pretty well for us the last time the Downs showed up for an Alabama-Georgia game, so I'm expecting it to work out just as well. Hopefully it won't be as dramatic.
41-yard reception from Tua Tagovailoa to Devontae Smith. Great point.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be quite so nail-biting for us, but it worked out. And we got one of the most memorable moments in Alabama history, so, yeah. Hey, your question earlier, would you rather have the best offense or the best defense? I'm assuming you mean in college football today.
Yes, sir.
Because like your man said, it kind of varies year to year. You know, back in 2020, I wanted that Alabama offense over anything. But in 2024, I think the defenses have come like college football. I think defenses have caught up. And I think the number one defense will beat the number one offense, I'd say 7 out of 10 times now. But again, 4 years ago, wasn't so sure of that. And they look like the trend wasn't going to have a turn. You had LSU scoring a storm on college football the year before. Then you had Alabama scoring up the storm the year after that. It's like, we were wondering, was defense ever going to come back again? But after that, after 2020, it started, whatever, regressing back to the mean. Those scores started dropping for the offenses, and the number one defenses stopped allowing quite so many points. So I think right now the number one defense are going to allow a lot fewer points than that.
I want to paint a little hypothetical here, and we don't have time to test it and create an alternate hypothesis, but let's just look at it from the transfer portal, okay? Offense, does it have to be simpler now because of so much rotation? Because we look at the NFL, there's not a lot of variance in offensive play calling, right? I mean, you got different guys, you got different weapons, you got different things you can do, but the similarity, it's probably closer than it's ever been. I think now you're seeing that with college football. Your guys are in and out. They're too much. There's no way that you can put in a complex. I'm saying no way. You can, but, it'd be a disadvantage to you.
And you need more people to be in sync with each other for that complex play calling to, really take root to make it too complex. So that's a lot of defenses to catch up quite a bit. And in fact, I think right now the defense is leading the offenses because that's the scoring against the number one defenses. Got to have that caveat. What Ole Miss is doing to these far behind defenses they're playing, that don't count. Wait till they get the real defenses. I think it's come down, but for a while it was definitely run and shoot and run and gun there for a while. It was getting a bit out of hand, but okay, it's come back. So I'd rather have number one defense. And like you said, the two best defenses in college football right now, points allowed right now, are right at the top, and they're playing each other. So we're going to see how that goes.
Yeah, something's got to give. Something's got to give. Hey, Robert, what else, my friend? What else is in your mind?
Nothing much. Just wanted to comment on your question. Yeah, I definitely would rather have the number one offense. Oh, one thing you asked them to think another one of your guests, who has the most pressure. Weird thing on the ESPN guys, they seem to think it's Kalen DeBoer.
In what way, though? Because I don't watch a lot of ESPN. I mean, I don't want to take that the wrong way.
I've been seeing the clips. I don't either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get glued into those guys. I mean, I enjoy it, but I don't spend like all my days. I mean, because they really, I mean, yeah, they talk about college football, but they also talk about a lot of stuff I don't care anything about.
Yeah, my love affair with ESPN has dropped dramatically over the decade. It used to be my default channel.
Me too.
If nothing else is on, it's on ESPN. No,
me too.
I don't watch a single show. I just catch the clips on YouTube, and every now and then I catch a clip. And the clips I've been catching, Stephen A. think it's DeBoer, Feinbaum think it's DeBoer, and I'm like you. It's like because he's trying to DeBoer. They think DeBoer has to prove he can be the heir apparent to Nick Saban. I'm like you. It's like, okay, Kirby, everybody believes it was Saban you couldn't beat, but if you don't win this game, then it turns into Alabama. So that's a whole level of pressure. Kirby has to prove that it is not the script A that keeps beating him. It was the coach behind the script A that keeps beating him. If he doesn't win this game, people are going to say, hey, man, no, it's that script A you can't beat. So I think more pressure's on him.
Good point. I do as well. I mean, because if you're a Georgia perspective and you look at Alabama beating you, let's say Alabama wins by some of these scores. I mean, Pee Wee just had 31-24. Yesterday you had 30-23. Let's say the boys from Athens go back there and they're going, man, that Alabama team. I mean, you may have to just deal with you will never be able to beat Alabama on a consistent basis. They are your kryptonite. Yeah. So if you're the dog,
get into your head quick.
Yes, and I think that's a big part of it. I mean, I think psychologically it works. And
one more thing too, the importance of this game. If the loser of this game, all of a sudden 3 losses becomes a distinct possibility for whoever loses.
But
I look at Georgia's schedule. I can see 2 losses.
Let me flip that around. Alabama, I can see 2 losses. Let me flip that around. Okay, I want to flip that around. Is this a play-in game?
No, because of the enormous opportunities to come back. But the 3 losses all of a sudden.
Hold on. All right, so let's look at it from. Okay, I'm going to counter that. You look at Vanderbilt for Alabama. That's a win. On the road, that's a win. South Carolina here, that's a win. Mm-hmm. Tennessee on the road, I mean, I'll give you the L there. I'm just going to give you the L. I'm just going to say L just for the sake of the conversation. Then Missouri here, LSU down there, Mercer here, Oklahoma. I mean, I guess there could be other hiccups, but then if you look at it from Georgia, they got to go to Ole Miss, and then they also have to go to Texas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If the loser of this game, they lose their what they call it in golf a mulligan. You lose your mulligan. Because if you win this game, you have a mulligan. Okay, if you screw up with a team you shouldn't lose to, you got your mulligan, you're still in. You lose this game, all of a sudden you better not lose that mulligan too, because there could be 2 losses easily. I mean, it can happen. So lose this game. The possibility exists you will not make the playoff. Not saying you won't, but it grows. It definitely grows quite a bit. And with Alabama Georgia schedule, 2 more losses after this is not impossible by any stretch. So it does. So there's that pressure on you. But I mean, that's why we play these games.
Yes, we do. Hey,
can't wait to get it done.
Appreciate you, man. Right, thank you. Let's continue with more phone calls, and we go to Bama Nick. Bama Nick, good afternoon. You're in the game. Roll Tide to you.
What am I missing, fella? What am I not hearing?
Jackson's busy right now.
I don't care. Jackson, when I called in an hour and a half ago, he said, Nick, I got your music queued up.
Jackson, can you play for...
I don't talk till I hear my intro.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. Let me put you back on hold. How about we come back out of the next break with it? How about that? Would that work?
That'll be great, because that'll give me time to drink one more bourbon and Coke.
All right, that's perfect. Thanks. Oh, my boy. Yes, sir.
Take your time.
All right. We'll break here. We'll come back. Let me tell you about the StandardBama.com, home of the 20-inch pizza pie, pepperoni, meat lovers, cheese. Design your own. You can find that. Cheese sticks, boneless wings. You can find the mac and cheese bites. Full-service restaurant, also order online, thestandardbama.com for carryout, also available by DoorDash, thestandardbama.com, thestandardbama.com. We continue with more of your phone calls. We'll get to those trogs. Bama Nick coming up in just a couple of minutes. Greg and Alabaster, Tommy and Romulus right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Roger Miller tune.
You got to make you sing, hi-ho, burn.
Well, I ain't singing hi-ho. I'll be out.
All right. Now, so Bama Nick, I just want to pretend just for a couple of minutes. Do you go to the grocery store? Or does Miss Kathy do all the shopping for you?
No, I do the shop. I go to the grocery store.
Okay. All right. So let's just pretend. Let's say that you call it a buggy or a shopping cart. I call it a buggy. I'm country.
I call it a buggy.
Yeah, me too.
I've been calling it a buggy since I was a kid.
Yeah, it's a buggy, not a shopping cart. That sounds too sophisticated. You know what I mean? Okay.
Well, it's too woke.
Yeah, it's too woke. Yeah, it's too woke. Yeah. All right, so let's just say that, you got your Alabama shirt on. You got an Alabama shirt on?
Oh, I wear my Alabama hat.
Okay, all right. So you're walking down.
My Trump hat. It depends.
All right, so you're walking down the different
And I got
aisles.
my 357 on my hip.
Oh, do you carry a 357 open range over there?
All the time. All
Really?
the time.
I mean, you and I found some things in common today. You're a 357
Yeah,
guy.
I got a carry permit, a concealed permit. That's why when I come to your show for that South Carolina game, I'll have my pistol.
Oh, hey, listen, we're pro 2A here. We have no problem with 2A. I mean,
there you go. And my entourage, they may have theirs underneath their coats. Or their
I mean, you got a hot bodyguard if you're Bama Nick. I mean, you talk so much smack over the years.
You got that right, Paul. You got that right. I don't go nowhere without them.
So what's
Donald Trump, my president? He don't go without.
What's your Smith? Is it a Smith & Wesson 357 or are you?
Yeah.
Okay. What model? I mean, I'm a huge 357.
Hell, I don't know, Paul. It's a killing model.
Okay. Well, all right.
I'm looking to get one myself. Tomorrow's my birthday.
And I
recommends?
put hologram bullets in hologram.
Okay. I'm a. Is it snub nose or is it?
No, it's the 4-inch barrel.
Okay, 4-inch. Okay, nice.
Yeah, snub noses ain't good, but up close, 4-inch can reach out there and get somebody.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just. I mean, I don't even know if they make a snub nose 357, but.
I don't think so either, fellow.
Yeah,
but when I got it, it's good. It's nice.
All right, but I mean, I'm a Smith & Wesson guy. So I mean, you and I found some things in common. We call buggies, and we have 357. So, all right, so let's go back to pushing the buggy around with a 357 on your side, and you go into a Georgia fan. What's your smack talk material for this week? You ready to get your butt whipped? What do you say to them?
No, we got that hurricane coming through here, tomorrow night.
Be safe over there.
Well, we're right in the path here in Americus, Georgia. It's gonna be, I don't know, power outage or not. But I got my phone where I can call and talk to you, but that's what's bugging me. If the power outage is hit, I may not even be able to watch the damn game. I don't know, pal. I have to listen to it on the app,
Yeah.
Plus, I got two of my closest friends are Georgia friends. They're coming over because I was going to do some ribs and tater salad and jalapeno poppers and beans and everything, and have a little Alabama party.
Sounds like you're throwing a little shindig over there. I mean, this is.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it all depends on if we lose power, then that'll throw a little curveball.
Yeah, and according to the forecast
I got a grill, fella.
It could be a Category 4.
Well, they're saying about a time it gets to America, to Albany, Georgia, and Americus up to Macon, they say it's probably going to be. They're saying the winds will be around 100 miles an hour, 70 to 100.
Yeah. Okay. So,
I got trees I'm worried about.
All right, but your smack talk material, like, what do you say to the typical Georgia fan? I mean, because I know you like to smack talk. You love to, butter them up, and pop them in the mouth. What do you say?
No. Usually when I'm with them, they're at my house. I'm pretty much.
I'm talking about at the grocery store, not at your house.
Oh, at the grocery store, they don't say nothing to me, fella.
Okay.
But when you're in a grocery store, I'll run into some Alabama fans in there, and I'll say, "Roll Tide." Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
That's all we say.
But, I mean, do you look at a bug like an Auburn fan and you start laughing? I mean, you just...
I ain't seen an Auburn fan in Americus, Georgia in 3 years. So.
Okay. All right. But okay.
And that was usually at the Fish House Seafood Center up there, where I go and hang out sometimes, but they used to have an Auburn fan or two to come in there, but ever since we've been beating that Auburn ass, I ain't seen none of them.
Uh-oh. There's a dog. I hear a dog. I hear Bama Nick.
That's Sassy.
Okay.
She's listening to the show.
Okay. She must have disagreed with something.
She disagrees with everything, Paul.
Because you said we're going to whoop that dog's, and I think...
Come on, say it, Fowler. You got to learn to talk. You got to learn to talk Bama Nick talk.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think that dog liked that when you said you're going to whoop that dog's...
Oh, I want to know. Now, Fowler, I want to know. There's one question I want to ask you before I give my score, but then I'm going to clatter with you. I want to ask Bubba. Has Bubba found him a date yet? Did you look him up yet, Fowler?
Bama Nick, there's some things that we just can't do, and that's one of them.
Well, have you been to the bowling alley?
The bowling alley. Now, that's in Jackson, a bowling alley.
Well, you know, on the other day when I gave you some hints getting Bubba a date, and he wanted to, and then you tell me how much you weighed. I said, well, send him to a bowling alley.
Bowling alley would be a recommendation.
Bowling alley,
yeah,
pal. Y'all still got bowling alleys up there in North Alabama,
we do.
don't you?
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
All right, there you go.
Okay.
Tell Bubba to go down there and hang out in the bowling alley. They usually sell beer and cokes and stuff at them anymore.
Okay.
I don't know that. We ain't had a bowling alley down here in 15, 20 years, so I don't know.
Okay. All right. Bowling alley. There it is.
Bowling alley. Has he been to a restaurant, nice restaurant with a nice lounge, to find him a lady? Has he been to church to get him a friend? And don't y'all pay attention when I tell you.
No. I mean, we took notes and we passed them on to Bubba, and we don't know if he's had any success or not. So we're still.
Well, I think I heard some girl on your show. When was it? Yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day.
Yeah, Jaisha, which is part of our producing team. Yeah.
No, it wasn't Janisha.
Jaisha.
I know Jaisha.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, no, it was. I think it was some. It might have been. Wasn't there some lady that come on your show and said, she wouldn't go out with Bubba or something? You said, well, we tried, Bubba.
Yeah. I can't remember.
I don't know, pal. I mean, I didn't catch the show all of yesterday. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, we were trying, but I mean, that's like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops.
Yeah, I heard you say, well, Bubba, we tried. We're giving up.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Yeah.
You can't have it, Fowler. I know you can't have it. Bubba, I want to apologize to you. Fowler can't help you. You won't listen to me, so I don't know what to tell you, Bubba.
Yeah, it's.
You're on your own.
I told him to go buy him a couple of Georgia tickets, and he could get a lady.
Well, he could join the Navy.
Oh, the Navy? Is that the way to?
Yeah, he could join the Navy.
Oh, does women go after the popsicle?
Oh, they love sailors.
The popsicle suits or whatever you guys wear?
Well, it depends on what country you're in.
Oh, okay.
Where I was in Scotland. They loved the hell out of American sailors.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And Miss Kathy elbowing you?
Scotland.
Is Miss Kathy
Spain
elbowing
too.
you right
Spain
now?
loves them. No, yeah, she's listening. Hell, she knows all about my history.
Okay.
I was over there before I even knew Kathy.
Okay. Yeah.
But I've told her things, I don't hide. Hell, I was in Spain. I lived in Spain for damn near 2 years. Them Spanish women love sailors. They love American sailors over
there. Do they make you sing Howdy Ho?
No, they buy me drinky.
Oh, drinky. Even you had that nickname way back then? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Ryan Fowler, I was in the military from 74 to 87.
Ooh, okay, that's a long time.
So I've been to a lot of places with buy me drinky, sailor. I tell them, hell no, buy me a drink.
Yeah, all right. So here we go, Bama Nick. I hate to move on.
Here we go, Fowler.
I'm ready for the score. We're ready.
All right. All the listeners out there, this ain't my lot. But you'll get that on Friday at the parlay pick. 23-20, Bama.
Okay, 23-20, Georgia?
Bama, Fowler. Get the wax out of here, Fowler.
Okay, 23-20, Alabama. You like Alabama to win? Jalen Milroe, total passing yards.
172.
Got it. All right, Bama Nick. We appreciate your contribution.
All right, now who's coming up next?
Tommy and Romulus.
Oh, Tommy, my man, Tommy. I want to hear what Tommy's got to say. Ask Tommy his hints to Bubba. What he wants Bubba to do to find a woman. I heard you yesterday say, well, Tommy, you could use some hints, too.
Yeah.
Tommy ain't got no woman either. Well, tell him. Well, I don't know. I ain't never met Tommy.
I mean, y'all turned this show into like a dating game or something. I mean,
well, you did that the other day on Listen to You trying to get Bubba a date. You sound like Paul Feinbaum trying to get his callers dates.
Yeah. Well,
the Bama Bachelor.
The match game. Yeah.
Yeah, the match game. Ryan
we
Fowler.
had a guy that called up and said he'd give the first $100 to Bubba for he'd get the dinner. Jared and Dallas.
Yeah.
So
that's if Bubba wants to take. It depends on where he wants to go out to take the lady that he finds. And take her
that's
out.
That's part of the problem. He wanted to go like Taco Bell or something. I mean,
no, you got to go to the dock side over there.
Yeah, Southern Ale House dock side.
That's it. That's it. And you still got my 4 tickets ready for that South Carolina game?
Yeah. I mean, I've still got these 4 over here for Georgia that's been waiting on you, but you didn't.
Well, I got this hurricane that's gonna.
Well, run from the hurricane. Evacuate.
I don't evacuate. I ride it out, fella. I ride it out.
You're tough.
I got babies here I got to take care of. I can't leave them.
I got you. All right. Be good, Bama Nick. Bring them with you.
All right, Ryan Fowler. Thank you for taking my call. And I'll talk to you on Friday.
Okay, thanks. We game here in Tuscaloosa. Let me remind you about the Wharf, the work-in Western wear for the entire family. Since 1976, the work-in Western wear. You can find Justin, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many more. When you look at those great folks right there at the Wharf, since 1976, you'll find the Wharf, the work-in Western wear for the entire family. If you're looking for a new pair of boots, if you're looking for a new pair of jeans, if you're looking for a Western shirt or work apparel for the entire family, you can find it at the Wharf since 1976. Let's continue with more phone calls, and we go to Tommy. Tommy, good afternoon, sir. You're in the game.
Well, hey, Ron, how are you today?
I'm great. Just trying to get ready for this Georgia-Alabama game.
Gonna be before you know it.
Yes, it will be. Be.
Around about 74 hours.
Oh, look at you. I'm ready. Tommy, got an extra couple of tickets here? You wanna make a life fortune?
No, I don't have extra tickets. I'm gonna tell Alabama fans, don't sell your tickets to no Georgia fans.
Amen.
And when you come to the game, bring the noise. And the ones who don't have tickets, walk around the stadium every time Georgia have a ball, make noise. I want them to have a hard time communicating. Become the 12th man. Become the extra man towards victory. That's what we want Saturday night.
But Kalen DeBoer said this earlier on the teleconference. He said, hold on. He said, we've got to give them something to cheer about.
Yeah, they don't want to come back in for another 10 years.
Yeah. He said, so we've got to be able to, we got to be able to say something to cheer about. We got to be able to say something to cheer about. So, we got to give them a reason to get excited. So we have to do our part too. Crowd's got to bring it, but we got to give them something to cheer about. So, kind of putting the pressure back on his team.
Of course, as a team, like Nick Saban always said, and Caleb DeBoer said it too, it takes everybody. Players, coaches, trainer, student trainer, fans. It takes everybody. This is for the University of Alabama. And show the world that Alabama's not dead. And show the world that Donald Trump made a good choice to go to this game. Because at least 90 million people or more will be watching this game Saturday night. So, it's good for Tuscaloosa and for Alabama.
You think ABC will show him at all in the game?
Well, I don't know. Really, who cares?
How crazy would it be if old Donald Trump is sitting in Saban's box? And they're just over there just talking. Because the other day, when Alabama was playing so poorly against South Florida, they kept scanning into Nick Saban or scanning into Nick Saban's box. And Tommy, he was sitting there, and it originally started with a couple of people around him. And then we looked over there, and I guess he just wore so many people out. There was nobody around Saban. There was nobody in the front, nobody at the side. Because he's up there coaching the way that he would coach the team. And I looked over, and because it's just a few boxes down from the press box where his box is, and there was not a soul around him. Nothing. Like, he's just sitting there by himself. And he's wanting somebody to complain to, but there's nobody around. Nobody. I mean, Miss Terry had left him. His daughter had left him. I mean, he's just sitting there. The time that I was looking, it was like nobody around him. And it was when Alabama was playing, kind of sloppy a little bit. What if we panned into the TV and go, oh, look, Trump, Saban, hanging out in his box?
I'm pretty sure they're going to meet.
Oh, you think they will?
Yes.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay. I mean, maybe Joe Manchin will be here, too. You never know. Joe Manchin, I saw he gave a pretty big endorsement last night, too.
Well, I mean, this is a big deal.
How many games have you attended with the president? Is this twice or is this more?
I didn't know when we looked at Little Rock. Clinton wasn't president, but he was candidate, and we got pushed against the wall. I got to shake hands with him.
Did you smile at Hillary?
No, she wasn't with him.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she likes football.
Oh. Well, she is really aged, man. She looks...
Well, she's full of hate, Ron.
Well, you're right. But
I mean, when you complain. I'm done wrong. I'm a victim. Nobody want to listen to you.
That old conscience will eat you, Tommy. It'll age you real quick.
Oh, sure. And I mean, so nobody want to listen to her except losers.
Amen.
Ain't no other way of putting it. No other way of putting it. I shouldn't say ain't. Just to show you how uneducated I am.
I think it's been added to the dictionary. I think it's no longer your teacher that told you that it wasn't a word. She didn't realize that it was going to be added.
Yeah. Well, how the dictionary changed in the last 3 years. When I was taught 50 years ago in grammar, I'm surprised they even use commons anymore in sentence structure. I mean, really, come on. It's just ridiculous. But that's another subject. But,
all right.
No, this is big. This is good. And this is just the first of many big games with Caleb DeBoer.
He's 12-2. 12-2 against top 25 teams.
Well, I've listened all day on the television. And they're making out this is a must-win by Caleb DeBoer.
Yeah, I don't understand that. That one's
I don't either. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The man across the state in other states is 1-5. If he loses, it's not Nick Saban the GOAT. Alabama, the University of Alabama, is the GOAT. We have coaches in the past. Wallace, Thomas, Bryant, Stallings, and Saban. And pretty soon, we're going to put Coach DeBoer in that same category. And they are just shaking in their boots. They can't stand that. But they are nervous as heck.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
But he's getting ready to lay his foundation block Saturday night for the first 33.5% of a 12-game regular season. And he's going to be 4-0.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Thank you, Tommy. Have a great rest of your day, man.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Right back to you. Southern Al Score Prediction Day. Southern Al Score Prediction Day. 1530 McFarland Boulevard. That's the original location. Eat Southern, Be Southern. Also Southern Ale Dockside. Up on Lake Tuscaloosa Marina Drive. Always that great Southern cuisine. And open at both locations for lunch and dinner tomorrow. Dinner tonight at Southern Ale Dockside, and also 1530 McFarland Boulevard, which if you're coming to town, probably your closest location. But the beautiful Lake Tuscaloosa location there is Southern Ale Dockside. You'll find it right there. Monday through Saturday, lunch and dinner options at 1530, and then also closed on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday dinner, Thursday lunch and dinner options at Southern Ale House at Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then brunch until 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon right there in the lake. Come.
42-17.
I'm writing that down. Greg and Alabaster, 42-17. Sounds like a lot of people were chug-a-lug. Bama Nick's rubbed off on everybody. 42-17, Greg?
Yes, sir. What makes you believe that with an athletic quarterback, with the complicated route schemes, the things that we've not shown that we know are there, what makes you believe they're going to be able to stay on pace with the scoring-wise?
Oh, so you think it's going to be a shootout? I mean, not a shootout, but from they won't be able to control Alabama.
They won't be able to control Alabama. What? Because just real quick, go back to Gene Stallings. What did he always say? Whenever they went into game plan, they circled the numbers that they thought that they had to put up on the board to beat the opposing team. Correct?
Yeah.
What do you think Kirby puts up to beat Alabama?
Probably in the 20s.
Do you think his offense can be held in the 20s?
No. I don't think.
So I think he's going to have to get outside of his normal conservative, targeted self. He's going to have to take onside kicks, go for it on fourth down. He's going to have to do stuff outside the norm. And when he does that, he's going to lose all pace. Your guys, keep within the plan. You always want consistency. So I think he's going to have to get outside his norm, because last year we played a game that like he wanted, and we beat him at his own game. Now we've got some explosive plays that he knows he cannot allow to happen. And he's going to have to, at some point in time, roll a safety down inside the box in order to try to get Miller off his game, make him run into Dead's pockets. But that's going to allow our wide receivers to run open. And there's going to be plays because he's going to have to get outside what his comfort zone is. Match up man one side, zone another, find the holes. This is not the same old, simple Alabama wide receiver route. This is going to be complicated. This is going to be crossing. This is going to put you out in space. This is going to use the width of the field as well as the depth of the field. And also, guys, if you get a chance, look at the wide view of the field. Watch how our receivers will delay coming off the line of scrimmage to manipulate the secondary to open up zone. And when you do that, Ryan Williams before the half, he delayed coming off the line of scrimmage, and it opened up that middle hole zone, and he almost took it to the house. Those plays will happen, and Kirby will have to turn around and try to play man up, put his wide receiver or his defensive backs back to Jalen Milroe to try to run with our guys and try to keep the safety across the top. He's going to have to declare one side of the field or the other. When you do that, we'll be able to formationally and by motion manipulate that to our advantage, and tight ends down the seam will be wide.
And a little bit of a tease against Josh Cuevas on that Wisconsin game. Hey, give me Milroe passing yards. I got to get to the top of the hour right here.
I'm going to go 310.
Glory, Greg. Drinking Kool-Aid, two hands on the jar. Turn it up, man. Turn it up.
Roll Tide. Throw every dog bone at every dog fan that wants to get down on the ground and bark and hit them right between the nose and make them yelp all the way back to Athens.
Corey, take a look at it. Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyline Boulevard, and online at Tuscaloosa Toyota. We're doing a Southern Ale House score prediction day right here in Tuscaloosa, presented by Southern Ale House, and we're taking your scores, a chance to win both a Southern Ale House gift card. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. A Daniel Moore 2025 calendar and a mini print. And the 2025 calendars is the 2025 edition, which is the Nick Saban portrait and multiple. It's the different prints. Then you can also buy the legend print, and it's DanielMooreArt.com. We're also doing a dozen red roses. We call that, Jackson, on this program, we call that doghouse prevention. So a dozen red roses courtesy of Pat's Florist, 1010 Queen City Avenue, and also throwing in a Mark Smart gift package. We appreciate you guys right there on It's not Main Avenue. It's downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge. So if you're headed, I think that's Airport Boulevard. I don't even know what road it is, but it's downtown Northport. It's not Main Avenue. Main goes the cross intersection there. But you can find it and go see our friends, Mark's Mark. So let's continue. And do you have a song? Is this? I mean, we got folks who want songs around here. It's like baseball players.
Get them ready.
Oh, yeah. You lose, Fowler?
The Georgia ladies have already showed up. They're barking.
Showed out.
Yeah. Well, they want to see what a real man looks like. I mean, they're not accustomed to these guys on the ground barking at strangers. So
I gave them an elephant stomp.
Oh, did you now?
With a trunk.
Help! I need a way out!
Woo!
Roll Tide!
Hey, what do you do when you see a leg humper?
You kick them. Yeah, you kick them.
No, you run their ass over. That's what you do.
That's what you do. Hey, and that's coming from a guy that loves dogs. Roll Tide.
That's right. Roll Tide, get off my leg. Woo!
Tony,
hey,
I don't know where you're going to go with these predictions, man, but I mean,
people
Greg.
Know the line
someone needs
is 1.5.
Someone needs to check Greg. Make sure he's okay, or check him into some rehab or something.
Chug-a-lug.
Oh, we got some chug-a-lugging. I think they're drinking that purple drink. Oh, Lord.
I mean, they are.
He broke it down, didn't he? He broke it down.
Yes.
He broke that game down. I mean, he had it all figured out. I mean, why even play it?
Listen,
I love Greg.
I do too. But 42-17, 42-10 with Steven. I think we'll put Kalen DeBoer up on shoulders and carry him off the field.
should I just go ahead 63-0 with Dawson? Just throw the Dawson out there 63-0?
You know, if Dawson was around, he would go 63-3.
He would. I guess he'd let him score.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a big announcement, but before I do the announcement, I do want to do a huge, gigantic.
You got tickets?
Yeah, well, hold on. Yeah, it does deal with tickets. But before I want to give my score.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going 31-27, probably popular score. I don't know.
Okay.
But the caveat to that is the Milrose streak will continue of 2 touchdowns running and 2 touchdowns passing. It will continue.
And that'll actually break the record, not just tie. It'll break it. Yeah.
Well, he broke it. Oh, you mean of all players?
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming because he's the weapon, and he's our hero. And I go, give him 225 throwing. Because Georgia's defense is tough, man, against the pass. Oh.
91.3 yards per game. Georgia.
That's right. Well, we're going more than double that, about 2.5 times that.
And the bowl haircut will be shaking. You know, it'll be. You know what I mean? The kids, you know, they used to shake the bowl haircut, and it would kind of like, that's. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's Kirby's cut.
Yeah,
Kirby got the bowl.
Yes, he
he is Mo. I mean, Mo might have beat up his guys, but when it came to the real guys, he got his butt kicked.
He did.
And the media just, the fake news, because they're pretending that Georgia has the streak on us. Does anyone know who is the defending SEC champion?
That would be the University of Alabama, 30-time SEC title.
What, one win in the last, 8 or 9 tries?
8 out of 9. 8 out of 9. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've won 8 out of 9, but this is a must-win for Kalen DeBoer. They're crazy. They're not.
Smoking crack.
Well, I can't believe them. You can't believe them. But, hey, I want to I want to change topics here. If you've been, and I know you've been following my page. I know you're big on it.
Yeah, I am.
And all that.
T-Town Tony.
That's right.
Are you the guest picker?
Huge. Well, it better be Miss Terry, and it better not be Taylor Swift.
Oh, you know they're going to pull out a woke.
Well, you know, absolutely. ABC.
I mean, there are already people out here talking about Caitlin Collins.
Oh, my God.
I promise you, there is a movement about Caitlin Collins.
Sure.
If I was the telecommunications school, I would hide her. I'd be like, oh, who?
Anything to deflect ABC, Disney, to deflect that Trump's there. Anything to do it. I think it better be Miss Terry. And let me tell you, if it is Taylor Swift, I hope we boo the living blank out of her. Boo her. Shame her. Make them know. Make people fear coming to Alabama to make us look bad. Because that's what it's all about, if she's there. Make her feel it. Make her know it. How many millions of followers did she leave when she endorsed?
Oh, I don't.
Kama Lama 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 Ding Dong?
I don't even know. I don't follow Taylor Swift.
No, she did endorse.
I know she did, but she
no, and then she immediately lost millions of her ex followers.
Yeah, I mean, I may be the only one in the world that thinks that she's kind of like
ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, not a whole lot going on.
Yeah,
not a whole lot going on. Skinny. You know.
What's the over/under on Kamala ads they'll show?
Oh, I don't know. And it's all. Oh, well, I don't want to go that route. I'm in a good mood. And Trump's going to be there. And you know.
Oh, I mean, after last week,
I don't want him. I don't want him there. I really don't. And when in the whole thing about the press box and would I sit in the box with him and in the luxury box, whatever. And my point was, I said no because I don't want him to be there. I don't want him to get shot. And now he's talking about Iran. I really am concerned about him and who's around him. Iran is in partnership with America. We're the one that let them get the billions of dollars of aid back and all that. America is in a partnership with them. We're not against them. So when they start releasing things about Iran is after him, I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. It's just mind-numbing. But anyway, I've got big news. I've got gigantic. Following me on T-Town Tony. If you're not, you're a sucker and a loser, as Tommy Thunder would say. But if you have been, you know that I knew that I had to do this ticket thing, this giveaway, because I'm a giver, right? You know me.
Oh, no.
If you had to say anything about T-Town Tony, what would you say?
Oh, he's a giver. Yeah.
He's a giver. It's understood.
Yeah.
So I knew people needed to know if they were getting these tickets or not beforehand. So I didn't really announce it. I put it out there, and boy, did I have some stories. But I finally picked the winner.
Okay.
Big and Little Johnny. It's a dad and son team.
Oh, big Johnny and Little Johnny? Okay.
Big Johnny and Little Johnny. Now, Little Johnny was an orphan, okay? And Big Johnny and his wife adopted Little Johnny, who's now Little Johnny. Now, this is the sad thing. Little Johnny doesn't have any arms.
No. Oh, man. What a nice guy you are.
And Little Johnny doesn't have any legs.
No
and
legs?
He's in a tough spot. No arms, no legs. Little Johnny.
I feel like there's a punchline coming. I don't know where
there's no punchline. There would be no punchline on this. That'd be in bad taste. So I announced it and I let them know. And one of the reasons why I was giving these tickets away is because I was going to be out of town. I could not stop it. There was nothing I could do. It was a family thing. I was going to be out of town. So I'm a giver. I was going to give the tickets away. So I contacted Big Johnny and I told him, I was like, you're the winner. You know, he started crying. And it was a moving moment. I started crying. I got to admit. Then later on this week, I guess it was, what's today, Wednesday?
It is.
Tuesday morning, I found out I don't have to go out of town.
Oh.
So now I'm struggling, and I don't know what to do. But, the universe is crazy. Karma out there, you put it out there, you're a giver, you get, you receive. It's crazy. I can't explain it, just how it works. That's why you should always be a giver. So I contacted Johnny, and I was like, Johnny, I never asked you, how many tickets do you need? He's like, well, I could use 2, but 1 would be okay. And I was like, well, that is great, because would you like to sit with me? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, but where's little Johnny going to sit? He's like, oh, that's no problem. You can use him as a seat cushion.
Oh, man.
Where's my butt?
Jackson.
Got to have the rim shot ready.
Jackson, you got a rim shot over there ready? You got a rim shot? He's looking at me. I don't think he knows where that button is. We haven't taught him that button yet, but we will. We will.
Why? You kind of set it up. Ding.
Hey, speaking of rim shots, I did a little something.
Oh, tell us.
Did you hear my big announcement earlier?
No.
You are talking to now a season ticket holder for Alabama Crimson Tide basketball.
You told me about that. You told me you were going to do that. Now, you need to preface that, not Tide Pride.
Oh, no. Yeah, but don't say how. It's because Nate gave me this secret link.
That's right.
Yeah, don't.
The university's not making anything on this deal.
No, I don't know now.
Not on Fowler.
Let me look. Now, my American Express card says different.
That's going to be huge. You're going to see a national championship in football and basketball this year.
Okay. Oh, look at you. All right.
So what do you do when you see a leg humper?
You kick them, but I got to do the pharmacy at Midtown.
No. You don't kick them.
You run over
them over.
That's right.
You run them over. All right, pharmacy at Midtown.
The pharmacy at Midtown.
Go ahead.
T.J. Thomas, the Nick Saban of pharmacists, the Kalen DeBoer of pharmacists. If your pharmacist doesn't have an Alabama shirt on, you don't want him. Kick him to the curb. The pharmacy at Midtown. PharmacyMidtown.com. 205-752-0627. The pharmacy at Midtown. Suite 334, right there close to the elevators, close to the stairs. You'll find the pharmacy at Midtown with all of that hard-to-get medication. The medicine they don't want you taking because it works. You can find it right there, the pharmacy at Midtown, but you're going to pay the same. Also, the retail side, the pharmacy at Midtown.
Look, make your wife happy. Make your girlfriend happy. Go by there. This is big weekend, right? Big weekend.
Huge.
Don't go without your Big Richard's flagpole supplement. They've got extra there. They've doubled up on it. Guaranteed to not let your flag touch the ground. God bless America. God bless Big Richard and his flagpole supplement.
He almost got himself.
God bless little Jimmy. Little Johnny. Get his
name right.
Little Johnny. Can little Johnny come out and play? No, I don't want to go there. And God bless the Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you. Tony in Tuscaloosa. T-Town Tony on the Facebook side of things. We'll tell you that they have finalized game day logistics for Saturday. Here we go. We got more to share soon, but here's the early notes. Gates will open at 4 p.m. Fans are encouraged to enter by 5 p.m. That means that special arriving there. They want you in your seats where you can chant and yell and scream and all that. Encouraged to enter by 5 p.m. Champions Lane will open at 11:30 a.m. The Walk of Champions is scheduled earlier as well. It's 4:25. Arrive early. They're asking you to arrive early at the game. So, and it's going to be a cooler evening. It's not going to be one of those, how are you, man? Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Ryan, I finally figured out who you look like.
Oh, Lord.
And this guy is real popular. He's from Louisiana. He likes ducks. And his name is Willie Robinson. You and him favor like you wouldn't believe. is that your brother?
It is. Busted.
Come on, dude. I mean, no joke. I mean, you two look like your pop just kind of, and there you were.
Not. I mean, I don't think we look anything like. But I mean, if you think it is, then I'll for the sake of the argument, okay.
Dude, I'm sober. If I had 2 gallons of Jack Daniels in me, I still think y'all were brothers.
Really? Okay.
Y'all look so much alike. I just saw him on TV, and I was on hold with you guys, and I said, "My God, that looks like Ryan." He's a real big religious. Well, he's a real big religious guy too.
Well, he's a Christian. He's a conservative. He's a guy who loves to hunt, loves the outdoors. I mean, we have something in common, but I don't think we look nothing alike.
If you put a bandana on,
somebody in the studio help me out there. Somebody in the studio help me out.
I think you guys.
Okay,
Jackson. I'm
not trying to gang up on you here, but now that he says that, I do see the resemblance.
Willie. All right, Jackson, you get a bacon cheeseburger from Jackson.
Willie Robertson.
I'll take that.
I did talk to Willie once. Okay, I mean, I guess. Okay, I'm seeing it a little bit. And him and I have the same issue. Our beard is actually longer than it looks. It's just curly.
Oh.
So it kind of like, mine's quite long, but it just curls, so it kind of pulls up a little bit. But okay.
Well, they always say everybody has a twin, and I just saw that, and I was like, holy cow, that is Ryan Fowler. So I had to say something about it, but I just thought a thing. And you know what? To me, if somebody said I look like him, I would think it's honored because the guy's a huge Christian. He loves the Lord. You love the Lord. You're a huge Christian. So, you guys got all that in common, which you do. You love to hunt. You love to fish and all that stuff. And
we're born in the 70s. We're born in the 70s, so we're close in somewhat age. Yeah. And I met Willie one time, and I showed him my beard. And you know what he called me? He said, "That's a starter beard." That's what he told me. He told me that's a starter beard, and I'm like,
oh, Lord. Well, if anybody would know, his family would know because they all got beards.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. So.
All right. Jumbo, you got a lot of people joining your company. You convinced us earlier this week that Bama was gonna whip up on the Dogs.
Can I change my score?
No.
Alabama 48. Florida 24.
No, can't change it.
I mean, Georgia 24. Okay.
Here's the reason why I can't change it. And
no, I'm just joking.
Okay.
I'm joking.
Because if I did it for you, I'd have to do it for 1,274 people.
Oh, no, I'm still 38-24, and I'm telling you. I went to work today, and Dale hardly said much to me at all, and I told him, I said, by Friday, you're going to change your mind. I said, it's all going to be this and that. And he just had too much to say. But, man, I'm listening to everybody, and I sent you a text a while ago. 3 out of the last 4 games, it's been 41-24, 41-24. I think Georgia beat us 33-16, and then we turned around and beat them 27-24. So they scored 24 points in 3 of the last 4 games, and I didn't think about that till earlier, but I did think about some stuff that Josh from Georgia was saying. When I look at what I've seen with Georgia through 3 games, and I look at what we've had through 3 games, I think kicking game, punting and field goals, defensive line, linebackers, secondary, offensive line, wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks. You can't help but give them an A, in Georgia, probably a B, B minus. I think we're that much better of a ball team than Georgia. I'm not even going to say if we get beat because we're not going to get beat. We're not. We're going to win this ball game. And Alabama is going to really, rock the college football world Saturday night. Because when they beat Georgia, not only you're saying Alabama's still there, but Coach DeBoer has arrived. And that would be a huge, huge win for him, even though he's What you guys say he was? 12-2, something like 22.
12-2. 12-2.
Okay.
So, all right.
So I'm on board, man. I am just positive doubt. I mean, I am so golly, man. I got goosebumps all over the place, and I usually don't get them like this before 3 days before a ball game.
I'm worried now.
We got this. We got this, guys.
All right.
Don't nobody worry.
Roll
we
Tide.
got this.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
Oh, you kicking me off the phone?
Well, I mean, no, Jackson just gave me the.
Oh, okay,
the wrap
okay.
up. Yeah, he I promised him a lightning segment right here, and I didn't.
Okay. I'll get on. All right, Roll Tide, y'all.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you,
Hey,
Joe.
Phil,
No, go ahead.
5-14, Bama, 215, passing Milrow.
215 passing.
Yeah.
35-14. Cole, anything else?
That's it, man. Let's elect to kick A.
Yeah, thank you.
Elect to kick the A.
Yeah, well, we're going to kick the A.
All right, buddy.
We're going to kick.
Yeah, we'll kick the A.
We're going to kick the A right out of Georgia. I mean,
Yes.
they won't even be UGA anymore. They'll be UG.
Yeah. Roll Trump, roll Tide. Let's roll, baby.
Look at Cole dropping a little Trump in there on us. Go Cole. Cole's excited about DJT coming to Tuscaloosa. Let's continue with more phone calls. Bama Kathy. Bama Kathy, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Ryan.
How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. Just
Good.
you spell your name with a K or C?
My name is Kathleen.
Okay. All right.
All right.
All right. I got it. My mom spelled her name with a Kathy with a K too. So I just wanted to make sure. So all right, here we go.
Let's see. I'm going to have Alabama 22, and Georgia 17.
22-17, and then Jalen Milrow passing yards.
172.
172. Thank you, Bama Kathy.
Just wish me luck.
All right. Good luck. Thank you.
She's had a couple Drake rides, Bo.
Oh, she has. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen to her. I have one or two parties.
Y'all sound like y'all having a hurricane party over there is what it sounds like to
Yeah,
me.
we are before it gets here tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Bama.
All right.
And for the record now, we made Bama Kathy wait just as long as we did Bama Nick. So we don't do handoffs. So just for the record, let's go to Mitchell. Mitchell, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well. Hey, Mitchell. Mitchell, going once. Mitchell. Let's try it again. There we go. Hey, Mitchell. Hey, Mitchell.
Hello?
Yes, sir. We got you. That was on our bad.
Ryan, the town's starting to buzz, and it's Bull Puppy Week, and we've all been counting down the days.
Yeah, but
so let's go.
Something tells me your back's hurting.
Because you're exactly right, because I have put out a lot of beer in the last 2 days, and the next 2 days I'll be putting some more out, a lot more out.
So,
all right, let's go.
So, see, Jackson doesn't know what we're talking about. Mitchell drives a beer truck. And so, yeah, poor old students over there. Don't you guys feel bad for the beer truck, man?
We're glad we're making you work, Mitchell.
Because those students keep us humping for 4 days, and especially when the big game's in town.
Better bring extra pallets for this weekend.
Yeah.
Hey, the Dollar General on 14th Street right there on 2nd Avenue, I'll be taking 6 pallets of Natty Light in there tomorrow.
And they'll be gone by Friday morning.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Ryan, let's go. The good guys, 34. The Bull Puppies, 28.
Okay.
Very reasonable score.
Yeah, 34-28. Jalen Milrow total passing yards.
Let's go 201.
I got it. Mitchell, appreciate you, man.
Thank you. I know Josh has been pinch hitting for me, but here you go. Milrow to the Georgia Bull Puppies. Yes, this is personal and business, and you're next. We're coming for you, dogs. You're going down. Roll Tide, Ryan Fowler.
Roll Tide. I like the energy. Mitchell bringing the heat. Let's continue. We've got 2 lines available. First time we've been able to say that in probably 5 days since last Friday, Thursday. Let's take more phone calls. 205-342-9904. Stephen, Raleigh, North Carolina. Stephen, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Roll Tide, Ryan. I'm going to make this quick and simple. I've already given you my score.
Okay.
You know, Georgia, we played them in 20, 21, 23. They've lost every year, every one of those seasons to us, at least once. In 21, we went 1-1 against them. In 22, they didn't play us. But the only team they played with equal talent was Ohio State in the semifinal game, and they won by 1 point. So every time they play somebody with equal talent, which has normally just been us, it's been hard for them. And I really think if they don't win Saturday, that they're bordering on, well, they only win when they don't play Alabama. I mean, I think it puts a wrinkle in their dynasty card.
Okay. Yeah.
But Jackson, I want to talk about Jackson created a good drinking game a little while ago. How much alcohol would I have to have if I drank every time a Kamala commercial was on Saturday?
A bunch. Yeah. Hey, Stephen, let me squeeze in these
Roll
final.
Tide.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir,
thank
Roll
you.
Tide.
Stephen, Raleigh, North Carolina. Let's go to Joey. Joey, talk to me. You're in the game.
Hey, Ryan, I'll keep it quick. 26-24 Bama, 2-11.
All right, 26-24 Alabama, 2-11. I got it, Joey.
You.
Roll Tide. Let's go to Max, Tupelo, Mississippi. Max, good afternoon. You're in the game. Roll Tide to you.
Roll Tide, Ryan. Good talk to you, buddy.
See, that's authoritative Roll Tide. I mean, that's not one of those little weak, little wimpy Roll Tides. That's one of those that I mean business, like stomp a mud hole in them business.
Oh, that's going down, too.
Okay. All right. Max, what you got for me?
34-24 Bama.
34-24 Bama. Jalen Milroe passing yards.
287.
287.
Did you hear about a possible mono outbreak in the Georgia locker room?
I saw. We had an article about that on Tide109.com. Wyatt Fulton had it. One of their wide receivers. So I don't know a lot about it.
Their best wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he's just one of them. I don't think he's the best, but he's a guy that's a rotational guy.
Well, they ain't got a whole lot of just like game breakers out there anyway.
No, I mean it's one of their weaker positions. It's not where they need
and
to be.
And they're missing their best offensive lineman too. And we're healthy, so I mean, you know. Hey, what about Quay? Is Quay going to be able to play?
You know what? And we don't have an injury report, but we're going to get one within the next 45 minutes or an hour officially. And we'll have it tomorrow because we got a good sponsor that's going to be coming on board talking about our injury report. So we'll have an official injury report. Watch me on Twitter. Watch me on Facebook. I'll post it up there, man.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Let's go to Tim. Tim, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Tim.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You loud and clear.
Hey, I'm a first-time caller, long-time listener.
Thank you, Tim. Where you from?
I'm from here. I live in Duncanville. I met you at the deal at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
At the Church of Christ.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes. University of Church of Christ.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I did too. Did too. Hey, I'm just about out of time.
I was hoping when I went